Chapter 1463. In order to survive, Mingyu had already abandoned everything. Twisting her enchanting body, she stepped forward and hugged one of Yang Cheng's thighs. Two lumps of pink flesh rubbed against Yang Cheng's thighs through his pants. The skin on Yang Cheng's thighs could feel the two hardened grapes constantly rubbing against his thighs. Mingyu, with her disheveled hair, exuded a glamorous charm like a dancer under the dim light. This woman's looks were above 80 points. Coupled with the fact that she had lived like a princess, her skin was delicate, and she knew how to seduce people. Needless to say, she must be a stunner on the bed. But what kind of person was Yang Cheng? Not to mention the women he had played with, the beauties in his base camp were not inferior to Mingyu. They were all outstanding beauties, and women with peerless temperament often slept by his side. If she wanted to seduce him with her beauty, it was indeed possible, but the premise was that Yang Cheng did not dislike this woman. Obviously, Mingyu was blinded by greed and shamelessness, which made Yang Cheng feel that it was beneath him to play with her. If she had her own persistence and scrupulously upheld the last bit of her dignity, Yang Cheng would still look at her a few more times. A trace of disgust flashed in his eyes. Yang Cheng sneered, "Even if you break open the peach under your buttocks, I have no interest in seeing the quality inside. Do you think that a beautiful sow can hook up with a man?" The vicious words made Meng Yu's tender body tremble. She shivered, and tears rolled down her eyes. Although she did want to sell her body in exchange for a temporary life, and had already abandoned her own self-esteem, receiving such naked sarcasm, she still felt that death was better than living. "What? Are you angry because I poke your sore spot?" Yang Cheng asked in a playful tone. Meng Yu's eyes flashed with resentment, like a man-eating monster, but she was quickly suppressed. When she looked up at Yang Cheng again, Meng Yu's face had already become a pear blossom in tears, looking delicate and pitiful. "Why would you be angry with Master? Master, please believe you has never been touched by another man. You only wants to follow Master." Yang Cheng was a little regretful. He let out a long sigh and said, "It seems that you can't be saved, but that's good. It saved me the trouble." Meng Yu didn't know what Yang Cheng meant, but in the next moment, Yang Cheng shot a wisp of true essence into her faint acupuncture point. Her vision darkened, and she fainted. Yang Cheng grabbed the half-naked woman and flew towards the east. In the blink of an eye, he crossed the ocean and arrived in Tokyo, Japan. Under the gorgeous and dazzling Tokyo Tower, the bright lights were as bright as day. The buildings were scattered like stars in the sky, and the endless stream of cars was like the rhythmic pulse of the city. Yang Cheng breathed in the cold wind and arrived at the top of a skyscraper. Many rich people in Japan would choose to live on the top floor of a building and transform the top floor into a variety of entertainment facilities. On the top floor of this building, there was a huge swimming pool, a green landscape, and an extravagant open-air hot spring. Yang Cheng suddenly landed with Meng Yu. Dozens of ninjas in black who were hiding on the top floor suddenly appeared from the bushes and surrounded Yang Cheng. "Oh, not bad. They're all at the peak of the acquired level. It seems that Hanya's ability is stronger than Noriko Okawa." Yang Cheng didn't care. "Who are you?" the leader of the ninjas asked carefully. At the same time, like the other ninjas, he looked at Meng Yu, who was thrown on the ground with a strange expression. Yang Cheng stood with his hands behind his back and said with a relaxed smile, "Hanya, come out." Yang Cheng's voice wasn't loud, but he had actually used some of his true essence to permeate the entire floor. Soon, Hanya, who was wearing a dark red pajamas with golden threads and half of her breasts were exposed, rushed out from the exit of the rooftop. In a flash, she knelt down in front of Yang Cheng and said respectfully and pleasantly, "Master, please forgive me. I couldn't get here in time." "It doesn't matter. I came here suddenly." Yang Cheng squinted his eyes and said with a smile, "Not bad, not bad. Now that you've entered the middle stage of the innate realm, you can do some things for me." The surrounding ninjas heard that. Their leader actually called him Master. Doesn't that mean this person is Pluto? Ever since Hanya took control of the Yamada sect, it had been included in Yang Chen's territory in the underground world. The ninjas were all aware of this. For a moment, They were all drenched in cold sweat, afraid that Yang Chun would punish them. Yang Chun saw that these ninjas were all trembling and smiled helplessly. It seemed that his fierce reputation was quite famous. He waved his hand and said, "All of you can leave. I don't blame you for doing your duty." The ninjas felt as if they had been pardoned and quickly disappeared into the night. Hanya then stood up and looked at Mengyu with a puzzled expression. She asked, "Master, why is this woman from the Meng family here?" Yang Chung didn't hurry to explain. Instead, he walked to the side of the hot spring and looked at the steaming open-air hot spring. Then, he started to take off his clothes. The weather was comfortable. Yang Chung remembered that he hadn't soaked in the hot spring for a long time. It was a good time to relax. When Hanya saw this, she naturally went behind Yang Chung and helped Yang Chung change his clothes. Although she wasn't really enjoyed by Noriko Okawa, as his goddaughter and a female ninja, she had served Noriko Okawa before. She helped a man change his clothes gently and comfortably. Yang Chung felt Hanya's gentle hands and her delicate palms carelessly brushed past his body. He couldn't help but enjoy it and let her do as she pleased. After taking off his clothes and pants, Hanya's two slender hands touched the edge of Yang Cheng's underwear. There was a big thing inside. This time, Hanya looked up at Yang Chung in inquiry. Yang Chung smiled and nodded. Hanya's elegant oriental beauty face was immediately tainted with a blush. This moment of bashful posture made Yang Chung feel a little dizzy, because from top to bottom, he could still see the deep ravine between her towering breasts at the collar of Hanya's pajamas, as if it was a black hole that could suck in one's gaze. Hanya gently knelt in front of Yang Chung and took off her underwear. The big thing inside jumped out impatiently. Even if it hadn't entered the battle state, it had already made Hanya blush and her heart beat faster. To put it bluntly, she was still a virgin. It was just that the cruel Noriko Okawa used his hands to poke through a thin membrane. All these years, she kept her chastity and wanted to dedicate herself to Yang Chung, his great benefactor. However, she was repeatedly rejected by Yang Chung. Tonight, she felt that it was a great opportunity. However, when she saw Yang Cheng's weapon, she was a little afraid. How could she withstand it? Back then, when Okawa brutally penetrated her with his hands when she was young, she still remembered the heart-wrenching pain. This was also why she didn't have any thoughts of befriending men other than Yang Chung. Yang Chung didn't mind if a woman glanced at his penis from time to time. He grew up abroad and lived his life on the edge of a knife, so he was quite open-minded in this aspect. Lightly walking into the hot spring, Yang Chung sat on the cobblestone. He felt the hot water soak through his abdomen and reach his chest. He let out a comfortable sigh. How comfortable. Hanya, you really know how to enjoy yourself. Yang Chung smiled. At this moment, Hanya's almond-shaped eyes were sparkling. Her body was about to turn soft. One of her hands shyly touched the sensitive area between her thighs under her nightgown. She felt that part of her body was getting moist because of the stimulation. However, she came out in a hurry and didn't wear any underwear. She was worried that if the water droplets came out, it would make Yang Chung think that she was a loose woman. Master, you flatter me. This is a gift given to me by the cabinet minister in order to get promoted. This place is close to the other branches, so I moved here. As Hanya spoke, she clamped her two slender, round, and jade-like thighs together. Even though Yang Cheng's back was facing the woman, he could still sense what was going on with her. He sighed and said, "You come down too. Accompany me in the bubble." Hearing this, Hanya was both shy and happy. Her heart thumped wildly, like a young girl in love. Hanya responded softly and untied her nightgown, revealing her flawless, white, and proud body. She walked down the hot spring with graceful steps. However, she didn't dare to easily lean on Yang Cheng's side. She obediently sat beside Yang Chung. Amidst the white mist, Hanya's erect breasts were soaked in the hot spring. They were dyed with a layer of pink, and her breasts were especially beautiful and eye-catching. The steam wet her black hair, making her face as beautiful as a peach and her eyebrows as curved as a willow leaf. She was especially charming and moving. Yang Chung didn't avoid his gaze. He even subconsciously glanced at the woman's thighs under the water. With just a glance, Yang Chung revealed a trace of a naughty smile. Chapter 1464. Japanese women really knew how to serve. She was always ready. It was obvious that Hanya had taken good care of it. She cleaned that place very well. Not even a trace of black grass could be seen. There was only a faint touch of bright red. Hanya was scanned by Yang Chung. There was some indescribable excitement and joy in her heart. If one looked carefully, one could see that from her pink peach garden, there was a trace of cool water trickling out. Her sensitive physique made Hanya unbearably numb. It was as if thousands of insects were crawling in her heart. It was so itchy that she was about to cry out. Fortunately, those ninjas were tactful. They knew that Yang Chung was here, so they hid far away. Otherwise, if they saw the current leader, their eyeballs would definitely fall out. Yang Chung didn't make any substantial movements. Instead, he opened his arms and lightly said, "Hanya, you don't have to be too nervous. I'm not a rash young man. It's true that I'm looking at your body, but it's just appreciation. I don't want to do anything to you. If Master wants, Hanya can do it any time." Hanya's eyes were filled with ripples. Her mood was filled with expectation. Yang Chung shook his head. "I don't lack women. You are actually a pure woman. Moreover, you have done a lot of things for me. I know what you have done behind the scenes. In fact, if you hand over Yamada's sect to a trustworthy person, I will support you to become an ordinary woman. You could be a good wife and a loving mother. I will support you." "No," in Hanya's eyes, "except for Master, I can't trust other men," Hanya firmly said. She was like a stubborn little girl. She was even somewhat childish. Yang Chung was surprised. He sighed and didn't try to persuade her anymore. This female ninja's way of thinking was traditional to the point of feudalism. She was silly to the point of being cute. So he said, "You must want to know why I brought Mengyu here. It's like this." Yang Chung roughly explained what happened before. As soon as he talked about business, Hanya immediately tightened her nerves. The flush on her face also faded. "Then what does Master want Hanya to do?" Hanya curiously asked. Yang Chung glanced at the still unconscious Mengyu. The Meng family has suffered heavy casualties. The only core character left is Mengyu. Of course, I'm talking about the Meng family's South China gang. This time, I killed so many people of the Meng family. It will certainly cause chaos within the Meng family and the South China gang. This time, I killed so many people of the Meng family. It will certainly cause chaos within the Meng family and the South China gang. To the South China gang of to do, to, of to be. Two, to, to of to the G family. Two of it of, by, and of, to two he to say. Originally, Mengyu is a good leader. She can quell this matter because she is a direct descendant of the Meng family. She is also the Red Flower Hall's hall master and controls the Central China industry. However, this woman, Mengyu, is too scheming. After a few tests, I discovered that she has no bottom line at all. I will not use such a person. At best, she's just a bitch who thinks she's infallible. Hanya thought for a moment and said, "Master wants me to send a ninja to pretend to be Mengyu and then enter the Meng family. Smart." Yang Chung smiled and praised. "You have the experience of sending people to take over the Liu family. Although it is quite difficult to take over the Meng family, I think you can do it. Of course, if the cultivators of the Meng family come out of the mountain and see through you, I will help you deal with them. I'm afraid that if they don't come, we won't be able to find their base." Hanya said, "It is indeed difficult. The relationship of the Meng family is too complicated. I have to get a lot of information from Hanya and then remember it one by one. I can't make any mistakes. I think I will personally disguise myself as Mengyu. I don't give you much time. So many people died tonight, and Mengyu is missing. I'm afraid there will be trouble tomorrow. You must get enough information from Mengyu before dawn tomorrow. Then, I will take you to the Meng family first. You can send other ninjas with good skills to sneak into the Meng family and eradicate those thorns for you. As for the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade, I will contact General Kai Yunqing and ask him to let the ninjas of your Yamada sect go. With my relationship, it won't be a big problem. After all, They won't want the Meng family to be in chaos. Yang Cheng had a well-thought-out plan. Hanya knew that the situation was urgent and didn't dare to stay any longer. She suddenly stood up from the hot spring. The water flowed down from her smooth and tall twin peaks. The two pink balls of meat trembled. The water trickled down her delicate white and tender body, endlessly charming. Master, after asking the things, do you want to kill Mengyu or keep her for other use? Yang Cheng grinned and said, it is impossible to ask everything in one night. Keep her first. If there is anything you need to know in the future, you can ask slowly. Of course, in order to guard her, I will abolish her cultivation base and turn her into an ordinary woman. I think you should have a lot of ways to deal with a spoiled rich girl. Hanya revealed a devilish smile. I can see that she is still a virgin. I believe that many of the hotels under our Yamada sect in the Rainbow Light District will be willing to nurture her as a high-class courtesan. Maybe her first time can be sold for a good price. Haha, this is for you to think about. My request is only one. Tomorrow morning, I want to see a qualified menu played by you. Yes, Master. Henya nodded. There was only pure obedience on her face. For Yang Cheng, abolishing Mengyu's cultivation base was just a blink of an eye. The rest was left to Hanya to deal with. In a dark room, the light shone on a small area in the center. Mengyu, who had just woken up with disheveled hair, found that there was no true qi in her body. She also found that Hanya was in front of her. She was surrounded by a mass of naked, strong men wearing black headgear. Where is this? Where is Yang Cheng? Where is Master? Mengyu felt a chill and was at a loss of what to do. Hanya was wearing a sexy leather suit. She held a whip in her hand and lightly tapped it. She looked down at Mengyu. Listen carefully, you are now a cripple. If you want to live, then answer whatever I ask you. If I see the slightest hesitation in your eyes, you can rest assured that I will not take away your virginity. However, among the men here, there will be one who will put a thick, hot rod in your back. There are more than 30 strong men here. You don't have to worry about them not having enough energy, so you better obediently cooperate with me. Mengyu almost suffocated. She felt the world spin. Her eyes immediately rolled back, and she directly fainted. A trace of disdain flashed in Hanya's cold eyes. After losing her cultivation and status, this woman was actually so weak. Indeed, she was not worthy of being her master's servant. However, it was also good. It was easy to break down her psychological defenses. After ordering people to pour cold water on her to wake her up, she officially began the interrogation. Zhonghai, it was late at night. The courtyard in the western suburbs was already silent, except for the sparse sounds of insects. A black Audi A8 stopped in front of a mansion. Ning Guangyao, who was wearing a black casual jacket, got out of the car. After taking off his formal clothes, he looked like an ordinary elder, amiable and approachable. Walking to the door, Ning Guangyao pressed the doorbell. Mother Wang's voice came from inside. Coming. After a while, the door opened, and the sound of a drama came from the living room. It was obvious that Mother Wang was watching TV. When she looked up and saw the person at the door, Mother Wang sucked in a breath of cold air. She subconsciously took 2 steps back, and her voice trembled. Premier Ning? Mother Wang never dreamed that Ning Guangyao would come here at this time. She had heard that the father-daughter relationship between Ning Guangyao and Lin Ruoshi was already an open secret, but she didn't think that such a scene would appear. Hello, Mother Wang. I'm sorry to disturb you so late at night, but I really don't have time during the day. Is Ruoshi here? Ning Guangyao said with a humble smile. It had to be said that having the dignified premier of a country speak so politely and softly, Mother Wang felt some indescribable joy in her heart. Although she knew that Ning Guangyao had done some things that let Lin Ruoshi down, it was still difficult for her to hate this handsome middle-aged man. Miss, she... Before Mother Wang could finish, a cold voice came from the living room. Mother Wang, who's here? Chapter 1465. Ning Guangyao's face lit up with joy as he peered into the room. Lin Ruoshi, who couldn't hear Wang Ma's reply, happened to walk out at this moment. She was wearing a simple yet elegant cream-colored pleated dress with her hair tied up. She didn't look cold and aloof, but more like a gentle housewife. When she saw Ning Guangyao, Lin Ruoshi couldn't help but stand rooted to the ground, a little dazed. Perhaps because she was too surprised, her feet were stuck to the ground as if they were magnets, not moving at all. Ruoshi, it's good that you're still awake. Dad won't be unhappy to see you so suddenly, right? Ning Guangyao asked with a warm smile. Lin Ruoshi's body trembled when she heard the word dad. She pursed her lips and looked at him with a complicated expression. Premier Ning, what's the matter? Ning Guangyao blushed with shame. I wanted to come earlier, but I had a meeting with the government of Zhonghai City, and it ended very late. Thinking that I'm going back to Beijing tomorrow, I couldn't care less and decided to come and see you. You've seen him. Please go back. Lin Ruoshi nodded indifferently and turned to leave. Sigh. Ning Guangyao said with a begging expression. Ruoshi, Dad knows that you might not like to see me, but I really have something to talk to you about. Can you accompany Dad to sit out and eat something? I haven't had dinner yet. My stomach is empty. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi still didn't respond, Ning Guangyao could only say, Consider it, Dad. Please, I beg you, daughter. Lin Ruoshi bit her lips with her back, facing him. Her beautiful eyes were glistening, and her heart finally softened. A premier of a country begging you. She felt that it would be cruel if she didn't agree. Lin Ruoshi took a deep breath to clear the mist in her eyes. She then turned around and walked out of the house. Mother Wang, I'll be back later. You should rest if you're tired. Mother Wang nodded nervously and responded with a stiff smile, but there was some worry in her eyes. Ning Guangyao's face was full of joy. He didn't have the dignity of a dignified premier at all. He led Lin Ruoshi to the Audi. After boarding the car, Ning Guangyao said to the driver to Bailu Plain. The car quickly got on the road, shuttling through the cold night on the suburban road. Ning Guangyao looked at his daughter beside him. Lin Ruoshi was looking out of the window with an indifferent expression. She had no intention of speaking, so he broke the silence with a smile. Ruoshi, you know the Bavarian clubhouse in Zhonghai, right? It's actually one of the properties of the Ning family. I often go there when I'm in Zhonghai, and there won't be any disturbances. It's very quiet. Premier Ning, the Ning family is the Ning family. I am me, and my surname is Lin. Lin Ruoshi replied lightly. Ning Guangyao shook his head and sighed. I know it's hard for you to accept me as your father, who has done so many wrong things. It's also hard for you to return to the Ning family as the daughter of the Ning family. But you also know that I don't want to hide our relationship from the outside world anymore. I've realized that I can't give up on my own flesh and blood. Now, many big families in Beijing and Zhonghai know that you're my daughter. To be honest, I'm proud of you, no matter what others say. I know that I've done and said many hurtful things to you. I blame myself until late at night, and I often have nightmares about you looking at me coldly and disdainfully. Every time I wake up from my dreams, I'm filled with regret and heartache. But I don't dare to contact you because I'm afraid that you'll despise me even more. I feel so useless. When a Yang family was in trouble last time, I couldn't wait to bring you to the Ning family's mansion. But I had to consider the overall situation of the family, and I was also afraid that you wouldn't agree. So, I could only hope that Yang Cheng could resolve the crisis. You have no idea how nervous I was at that time. Ning Guangyao seemed to be talking to himself, but his words were sincere and touching. He was like a father who had done many wrong things and was constantly repenting. But at the same time, he was also like a helpless man who was feeling sorry for himself and had no one to rely on. Lin Ruoshi didn't respond. She looked at the neon lights outside the window, but her eyes gradually turned red and her pink neck straightened. Ning Guangyao spoke intermittently for more than 20 minutes before the car stopped outside a clubhouse at the junction of the western suburbs and the city. This clubhouse was called Bai Luyuan. Usually, only VIPs could enter, and only a few VIPs could enter. Today, when Ning Guangyao arrived, the clubhouse closed early. In fact, he was waiting for Ning Guangyao to bring Lin Ruoshi over. They entered an elegant, antique private room. Ning Guangyao had people serve more than a dozen different dishes. Surprisingly, they were all Lin Ruoshi's favorite foods. There were even glutinous rice balls that were obviously from the Zhao family. They must have been bought by someone during the day. How is it? Dad asked someone to do it. It's the first time we've had dinner together. Oh, I should say supper. I specially prepared your favorite foods. Do you think it's strange that I know what you like to eat? Ha, Ruashi, I've actually been paying attention to your growth since you were a child. I remember clearly what you like to eat. Ning Guangyao didn't mind Lin Ruashi's cold expression at all. He was very happy to say it. Following that, Ning Guangyao sent someone to deliver a bottle of Lafite and a bottle of high-strength Wuliangya. The Lafite was prepared for Lin Ruashi, while he poured himself a glass of white wine and drank it himself. Come, Ruashi, have a glutinous rice ball, and this okra, steamed pork with mildewed vegetables. Oh, right? You don't want to eat meat tonight, right? Then eat more vegetables, just treat it as accompanying Dad. Ning Guangyao seemed to be talking to himself as he busied himself with food for Lin Ruashi. When Lin Ruashi saw that her plate was full, she finally picked up her chopsticks, picked up okra, and took a small bite. Ning Guangyao's eyes flashed with a bit of disappointment, but soon his eyes lit up and he clapped his hands in annoyance. Oh, I almost forgot. This made Lin Ruashi a little puzzled. She looked at him and didn't know what he had forgotten. Come, Ning Guangyao called the dedicated waiter. Go and bring up the white truffles I ordered. After the waiter responded, he quickly brought over an exquisite silver tray with white truffles that had been prepared. There was a ripple in Lin Ruashi's calm eyes. Italian white truffles, like French foie gras and Middle Eastern caviar, were all extremely precious delicacies in the world. White truffles were priceless, and money might not be able to buy them. This was because this kind of fungus would become useless if not eaten within 10 days after being harvested. Moreover, it was produced in Italy, and the quantity was limited. Basically, the most common price was an egg-sized white truffle could be sold for about 5,000 Huaxia dollars. Of course, the premise was that someone would sell it to you. For a fungus, this was an unimaginably high price. However, Lin Ruashi loved to eat this kind of white truffles, but she also liked to eat glutinous rice balls. Moreover, white truffles were extravagant and could not be stored well. Although she liked them, she rarely ate them. She didn't expect Ning Guangyao to know about this. She couldn't help but think of what he said. He had been paying attention to her since she was a child. Lin Ruashi believed most of it. Come. Ning Guangyao personally took the silver knife and cut 2 thin slices for Lin Ruashi. He put them on a plate and said, "Try it. I asked someone to fly it from Italy." Lin Ruashi really loved to eat it. Moreover, it would be a lie to say that she was not touched. Thus, she nodded and put it in her mouth. Tasting this kind of indescribable delicacy that seeped into her heart from her mouth and nose, Lin Ruashi finally showed a faint smile on her face. Ning Guangyao sat opposite and seemed to be in a daze at this moment. After a long time, Lin Ruashi found that Ning Guangyao was staring at her. Her face was slightly hot. She was enjoying the aftertaste of the white truffle and might have forgotten herself. You smiled, Ruashi. Ning Guangyao's eyes were moist, and his facial muscles were trembling. He said happily, "It turns out that I'm not a failure as a father. I can still make my daughter smile." These simple and straightforward words made Lin Ruashi's ice-covered heart finally loosen. It was just a simple smile, but it moved Ning Guangyao so much. Lin Ruashi suddenly felt guilty. Perhaps she was too subjective. Standing in this man's position, he must have a lot of pressure to face. Yes, in this world, there would be no biological parents who would hurt their children for no reason. Deep in his heart, while hurting herself, the condemnation and trauma he received was probably even greater. Thinking of this, Lin Ruashi's expression gradually softened. She took the initiative to pick up another piece of truffle and put it in her mouth. Chapter 1466. Haha, eat more if you like it. Dad will help you cut some more. This thing has to be eaten fresh. It's a pity that we can't buy too much. Ning Guangyao saw this and went to help his daughter cut the truffles. He didn't care about his own food anymore. Lin Ruashi looked at his busy figure and couldn't help but say, "It's okay. I can't eat too much. You should eat too. Didn't you not have dinner?" When Ning Guangyao heard this, he looked at her excitedly. He smiled foolishly for a while before nodding his head vigorously. Okay, I'll eat too. Ning Guangyao said and gave Lin Ruoxi a lot of truffles before sitting down to continue eating. He seemed to have a better appetite. Ruoxi, if you like white truffles, I'll send you more later. Ning Guangyao said fawningly. Lin Ruoxi had regained her cold expression and shook her head gently. No need. It's good to eat it occasionally. Ning Guangyao seemed to remember something and said with a smile, Yes, I almost forgot. My precious daughter is one of the richest women in Huaxia. Even if it's hundreds of thousands of truffles, it's just a small amount of money. It's my fault. I just want to give you all the good ones. I don't mean anything else. Yes, I know. The atmosphere suddenly relaxed a lot. Ning Guangyao was very happy. He drank about 4 liters of Wuliangya. His face was flushed, and he spoke more and more. Ruoxi, do you know that when you were in junior high, you always failed in physical education? Later, when you were in the 3rd year of junior high, I was afraid that your physical education results would affect your total score. So, I secretly arranged for someone to change your physical education results. You don't know that your original score had to be deducted more than 20 points for physical education. Lin Jigua, that old man, would only arrange for someone to protect you. He wouldn't be so meticulous. But your results are good, so it's not a big deal to lose those points. When you were in high school, your homeroom teacher wanted you to perform at the school anniversary, right? He said that the more you practiced, the better you would be. Haha, I know you didn't agree immediately. Later, the homeroom teacher didn't ask you to sing. Actually, I was the one who convinced him. My daughter, your mother Zijing, is a famous mezzo-soprano in the university. Her singing is so good. Why didn't she pass it on to you? Oh no, Ruoxi, don't be angry. Dad didn't mean it that way. I just said it casually. You're better than your mom. She doesn't know how to do business. Hee hee. At this time, Lin Ruoxi suddenly put down her chopsticks and asked in a clear voice, Premier Ning, don't you have something to say? If you're almost done, please get down to business. Ning Guangyao was stunned. The originally harmonious atmosphere seemed to have been sucked out in an instant, making him unable to react. After being stiff for a long time, Ning Guangyao smiled bitterly. Ruoxi, you still hate me because I sent people to attack you and Lan Lan last time, right? Lin Ruoxi clenched her fists and placed them on her lap. She couldn't believe that Ning Guangyao had admitted it in front of her. Indeed, when she thought of how Lan Lan had been brutally beaten up by those gangsters, she couldn't suppress her anger. It was just that she had a good upbringing and wouldn't show it easily. If I said that I was forced to do it, would you believe me? Ning Guangyao sighed bitterly. Our Ning family is a hidden family. Actually, as the so-called premier, the head of the family, I'm actually very lowly. The request from the family is to snatch the endless resolve restoration scripture from Yangcheng. Yangcheng is very difficult to deal with, so we can only start with you and the child. If I openly disobey, the family will deprive me of all my power. For the hidden family, it will take at most a year to get rid of me. It won't be too difficult. A trace of bone-chilling coldness appeared in Lin Ruoxi's eyes. She said coldly, For the sake of your position and power, you want to kidnap us and beat up a child who is still in kindergarten, right? I know I'm very useless, and I don't have the face to say this. But Ning Guangyao's face was full of worry. He said dejectedly, Think about it, Ruoxi. Today, I'm the one controlling the Ning family in the secular world. I can control some things. But if it were another day, and another member of the Ning family came to manage the Ning family, then they wouldn't show any mercy at all. The methods they would use would definitely be worse. In order to snatch Yangcheng's cultivation technique, they would definitely come to do some things to claim credit from the family. They wouldn't be like me, only acting once because I had no other choice. In that case, I should be thanking Premier Ning. Lin Ruoxi sneered. Ning Guangyao was speechless. With a flushed face, Ning Guangyao didn't bother to defend himself. He raised his head and gulped down a cup of 5-grain liquor. After drinking 3 cups in a row, the drunken redness on his face deepened. His eyes became misty, and his speech became somewhat unclear. Lin Ruoxi looked at him coldly. Seeing that he had no intention of speaking, she got up and said, "If there's nothing else, Premier Ning, I'll be leaving." She didn't intend to let Ning Guangyao send someone to send her. She could take a taxi or walk. With her current Khanate cultivation, going back was very easy. However, Ning Guangyao suddenly slipped from the chair and onto the ground. He reached out and pounced in front of Lin Ruoshi, as if he was kneeling before Lin Ruoshi. "Ning, Premier Ning, you." Lin Ruoshi frowned. She didn't expect this at all. Ning Guangyao seemed to be drunk. "Don't!" Ning Guangyao shouted vaguely. "Don't call me Premier. Call me Dad. Daughter. Ruoshi, my child. Call me Dad." Lin Ruoshi took 2 steps back. Looking at the drunken Ning Guangyao, she suspected that he was really drunk. She said, "Premier, please conduct yourself with dignity." "Do you think I'm drunk?" "No, I'm not drunk." Ning Guangyao crawled on all fours, approaching Lin Ruoshi. If this scene were to be seen by the people outside, they would definitely be incomparably shocked. Ning Guangyao was actually crawling. When he arrived in front of Lin Ruoshi's feet, Ning Guangyao's tears actually fell from his eyes. He pursed his lips and cried, "Ruoshi, daughter, I'm really lonely. I'm in so much pain. I'm so regretful. Do you know whether it's your mother, Luo, Tsushan, Guodong? They all left early because of me. I'm the one who harmed them for my own selfish desires. I've done so many things that are worse than pigs and dogs. I'm a beast. Beast." Ah. Lin Ruoshi stared at the man in a daze, not daring to believe what she had just heard. However, Ning Guangyao was crying bitterly. He grabbed his hair and held his head. "I'm so afraid to go home now. The entire Ning family is so cold and empty, and I'm the only one there. I really regret it. I know I was wrong." Lin Ruoshi looked at the grieving man, her heart wrenching. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't know what to say. Suddenly, Ning Guangyao lunged forward and hugged one of Lin Ruoshi's calves. He begged, "Ruoshi, listen to Daddy's advice. Please don't divorce Yang Cheng. I know you're angry at him because of Lin Hui and Lan Lan, but you'll regret the divorce." Hearing this, Lin Ruoshi immediately wanted to break free, but she was afraid that her kick would injure Ning Guangyao. She couldn't help but say coldly, "Let go, Premier Ning. This is my personal matter. My daughter's matter is my matter. I'm your biological father." Ning Guangyao yelled as if he had gone mad. "Ruoshi, you've only been together for 2 years and you're divorcing. Did you marry him for the sake of the divorce? Marriage is not a simple matter. It's easy to live alone, but it's difficult to live with 2 people. I know that you've always had Yang Cheng in your heart. Listen to me, don't be stubborn. No matter how wrong Yang Cheng is, at least he can protect you. He really likes you. I can only on-sheen with him by your side. You still don't understand. A child's divorce is the most important thing to parents. Others may not know, but to me, Ning Guangyao, you're my only precious daughter. You're the daughter that my beloved Shui Zijing left for me. I'm proud of you. You're the only thing holding me back now. If you divorce, how am I going to meet your dead mother, your dead grandmother, and the Shui family that I've implicated? Even if I die, how am I going to tell you once you divorce? How am I going to bear it? So, for my sake, please don't divorce me." Lin Ruoshi's petite body trembled. She stood motionless on the spot as tears streamed down her face. She didn't know if it was for the man who had suddenly aged or for the person in the distance. Chapter 1467. After standing there silently for a long time, Lin Ruoshi gently wiped the tears on her face and freed her leg from Ning Guangyao's arm. Ning Guangyao didn't manage to grab her. He supported himself with both hands on the ground and raised his head to look at her. "The divorce is between me and Yang Cheng. Premier Ning, if you really want me to live a good life, then don't interfere in all this. I'm afraid that one day in the future, I'll find out that everything you said today was fake. If that's the case, I probably won't say a word in front of you anymore," Lin Ruoshi said faintly. "Ruoshi, that's enough." Lin Ruoshi interrupted what Ning Guangyao was about to say. "I don't want to say anything else, nor do I want to hear anything else. Let's end this conversation quietly. I'm leaving." Lin Ruoshi brushed past Ning Guangyao and walked all the way to the door. She stopped and said in a low voice, "You've drunk too much. Rest early." After that, Lin Ruoshi opened the door and walked out of the private room. When the guards and waiters outside saw Lin Ruoshi come out, they all wanted to ask if there was anything she needed. They were all trusted followers of the Ning family and knew that Lin Ruoshi was actually the eldest daughter of the Ning family. Given the current situation, as Ning Guangyao brazenly tried to get closer to Lin Ruoshi, there was a high chance that Lin Ruoshi would take over the Ning family in the future. Naturally, these people were extremely respectful to Lin Ruoshi. However, Lin Ruoshi's beautiful face was covered with frost, which made them shrink back at the sight of it. They silently made way for her when they came in front of her. Many people were puzzled when Lin Ruoshi walked out of the White Deer playing clubhouse. Was the eldest daughter going back to the villa in the western suburbs? But when they ran out, they found that Lin Ruoshi's figure was long gone, as if she had disappeared into the night for no reason. In the private room, Ning Guangyao sat on the floor until the assistant opened the door. He didn't get up, but lowered his head thoughtfully. As a trusted aide, he was shocked to see the patriarch sitting on the ground. He hurriedly ran over, wanting to support Ning Guangyao. "Premier, what's wrong? Are you drunk?" Ning Guangyao waved his hand, indicating that it was fine. "All right, don't you know my alcohol tolerance?" As he spoke, Ning Guangyao slowly stood up. Although his face was still red from the wine, his eyes were very sober. Ruoshi left. "Yes." The assistant breathed a sigh of relief and replied, "Miss walked out of the club by herself. We didn't follow her, so she disappeared." Looks like it's true. She's been trained by Yang Cheng to be very capable." Ning Guangyao chuckled. The assistant hesitated. "Premier, since Miss agreed to come, she probably wants to get closer to you. Maybe she's just not used to it." Ning Guangyao looked at him from the corner of his eye. He didn't say anything and continued to chuckle to himself. The assistant felt strange. He didn't know why Ning Guangyao was standing there and laughing. To put it bluntly, it was a little silly. But Ning Guangyao wasn't confused. He walked to the table and poured himself a glass of wine. Raising his head, Ning Guangyao drank it in one gulp. He took a deep breath and seemed to be talking to himself. "Ruoshi, my daughter, even if you're wary of me, you're still too young. You're soft-hearted, which is the most similar thing about you and your mother. Too much to drink? How could I, your father, drink too much? But the feeling of being cared for by my daughter is really not bad." And at this moment, in a desolate hilly area in the western suburbs of Zhonghai, a nimble and agile figure like a night elf was flying over some tall treetops. Her dress fluttered in the wind, and her figure was graceful. Suddenly, the figure of the woman stopped on an extended branch of a large pine tree. Her feet tapped lightly, and she stood there as steady as a rock. In the night breeze, Lin Ruoshi raised her head and looked at the bright moonlight. Many complicated thoughts flashed through her beautiful eyes. She also didn't know why she had such smooth movements. No one had ever taught her, nor had she ever learned it. But she just knew it, and she felt that it was only natural. Lin Ruoshi didn't care about this. Her deep gaze looked at the night sky in the distance. The sky was full of stars, flowing with deep emotions. "Hubby, my heart softens again. I know that it's fake, but I still can't do it. What should I do? Hubby, where are you now?" The woman's soft voice drifted with the wind thousands of miles away. "Tokyo," the top floor of the building where Hanya lived. The man quietly lay on a chair alone. Below him was the gorgeous night view of the city, facing the night sky in the west. In Yang Cheng's hand, he pinched the crystal-clear emerald fengxiang bracelet. He gently caressed it, and his eyes flashed with entangled longing. Sometimes he revealed a happy smile, and sometimes he revealed a helpless expression. Sometimes he furrowed his brows, and his eyes were filled with sadness, pain, and struggle. After a long time, he took a deep breath. Yang Cheng looked at the lonely crescent moon in a daze, with a blank expression, deep in the depths of Chulan. When they met again, they both trembled with tears. After a sad farewell, Both of them felt the same, and the most unbearable resentment was in the bright moon. Since ancient times, Kunlun had the reputation of being the ancestor of all mountains. It was also said that it was the place where the Taoist goddess, the Queen Mother of the West, lived. And to the south of Kunlun, the place known as the Chong Tang grassland was Kiki-Shili. People in the secular world all thought that the desolate Kiki-Shili was a forbidden area for life. Except for a few animals, it was difficult for humans to survive for a long time. However, the real Kiki-Shili was not like that. Before the ancient deities disappeared, because the ancient formation that was set up still existed, in order to ensure the safety of the formation and not be disturbed by the outside world, the ancient deities worked together to create an illusion that was independent of the parallel space. Because it was independent of the parallel space, the area of the illusion was far larger than the total area of Kiki-Shili. There were even some mysterious places left behind by the ancient deities. Because of the existence of the ancient formation in the illusion, the density of the spiritual energy was far higher than that of the secular world. Therefore, it gradually evolved into a place that the cultivators of Huaxia liked to cultivate and live in seclusion. After experiencing the changes of a few tens of thousands of years, along with the rise and fall of the cultivation world, the factions of good and evil fought intensely, and they fought without end. Since 20,000 years ago, the illusory realm had already been controlled by the primordial world and ancient clans. Hongmeng occupied the heavenly island under the formation. There were hundreds of floating levels of four, namely heaven, earth, black, and yellow. The greatest power was controlled by a few supreme elders of the heaven rank. More than 10 hidden families were gradually integrated and absorbed by the Luo family, the Ning family, and the Shao family more than 2,000 years ago. Each family attached a large number of weaker families, forming a tripod. Whether it was the change of the dynasty of Huaxia or the rise of the heroes, Hongmeng and the illusion had been silently controlling everything, and the hidden families also held great power. As for the gods from overseas who came 20,000 years ago, they did not interfere with the illusion and lived in harmony. To the northeast of the illusion was the Luo family, one of the three major families. The Luo family's castle occupied a large area. It was built with white stones, like a palace of immortals, majestic and awe-inspiring. In the Luo family's castle, there was a study on top of a 3-story jade building. There were antique mahogany tables, chairs, and bookshelves, all of which were priceless. But in such a room, there was a dazzling crystal chandelier hanging, and there were even advanced computers, televisions, and other modern equipment. In fact, this was not surprising. The Hongmeng and the hidden families in the illusion had followed the evolution of human civilization and would never reject these advanced things. After all, after a child was born in the illusion, it was impossible for him to immediately become a cultivator above the soul formation stage. He needed to eat, drink, learn, and grow, and also needed entertainment. It was impossible for a child to read books with candles when there was an electric light at night, and it was impossible for a child to go to the library to look up the history of human civilization when there was a computer. Many families and elders would accept these new technologies. Of course, cultivation was the most important. After all, strength determined the rise and fall of a family, and whether they could survive in the illusion for a long time. At this time, in the study, a middle-aged man with black hair combed behind his head was sitting on a chair, wearing a light cyan traditional Chinese costume. He was staring at a piece of white rice paper in his hand with a frown. The man's face was expressionless, like a stone sculpture, but he was angular, especially his sword-like eyebrows, which made him look heroic and charming. Outside the desk, there was an average-looking, long-haired man in yellow martial attire. He seemed to have aged a few years, and he was standing cautiously and uneasily. After a long time, the man in yellow finally could not help but ask in a low voice with a smile, "Master, do you think this endless resolve restoration scripture is real?" Chapter 1468. This handsome middle-aged man was the head of the Luo family and one of the top 10 experts of the illusory realm, Luo Chinchio. After staring at the white scroll for a while, Luo Chinchio rolled it up and said, "Wang Mian, follow me to the library." The yellow-robed man Wang Mian was startled, but he didn't dare to ask any questions and simply nodded, "Yes." Luo Chinchio's figure flew out of the study and arrived outside a two-story jade building. The words "library" were engraved on the signboard with bold golden ink. Wang Mian followed closely behind, his heart burning with excitement. Could it be that because of his meritorious service, the head of the family would reward the Wang family with some techniques? As a vassal family of the Luo family, the Wang family had many techniques, but none of them were as profound as the Luo families. Of the three great families of the illusory realm, the Shao family was famous for their alchemy, the Ning family for their treasures, and the Luo family for their techniques. This was a publicly acknowledged fact. Luo Chinchio formed a seal, and a white golden light flashed, condensing into a large ancient character for Luo, which he placed on the door of the library. The formation on the white jade door flickered brilliantly and opened, releasing a dense white mist. Luo Chinchio slowly walked into the library with Wang Mian following behind him. The library was divided into 2 floors, but it was more than 40 feet tall. The surroundings were filled with tall bookshelves, on top of which were leather scrolls, books, and precious jade slips. The cultivation techniques were like a sea of stars. Wang Mian had been here several times, and every time he entered, his eyes were filled with envy. However, he could only watch helplessly. After all, no one dared to steal from the Luo family. Luo Chinchio alone could be considered a top figure among the top 10 experts, not to mention the large number of elders and other direct descendants of the Luo family. Luo Chinchio waved his hand, and a leather scroll floated out from an inconspicuous corner, landing in his hand. He couldn't tell the age of this scroll or what material it was made of, but it should be a technique passed down from ancient times. Luo Chinchio tossed the scroll to Wang Mian. "Take a look at this technique." Wang Mian nodded and curiously opened it, thinking that it was a reward for him, but after 2 glances, he was dumbfounded. How could this be?" Wang Mian kept stuttering as if he had spat his tongue out. His eyes were wide open and he was dumbstruck. This cultivation method is called the 9-tier void refinement technique. It's a cultivation method passed down by our ancestors more than 50,000 years ago. It's extremely obscure and difficult to understand. Although it's said to have 9 tiers, there are actually only 8 tiers. The last tier, rebirth, only has a name but no cultivation method. Moreover, the power of this cultivation technique is far inferior to the other cultivation techniques of our clan. There was a senior who managed to cultivate it to the 7th level, parting the dust, but he discovered that he could only barely enter the Xiantian realm. It was too weak, so he gave up. While I was young, I've looked through it before. There are many parts of this technique that I don't understand. It's extremely easy for one to go berserk and be consigned to eternal damnation. Moreover, the further one cultivates, the more difficult it is to understand. The 9th layer only has the word rebirth. It's simply unimaginable. When Wang Mian heard this, he was tongue-tied in disbelief. These 2 cultivation methods are clearly exactly the same. Could it be that the one that Yang Cheng gave me was fake? Luo Chinchio expressionlessly fell into deep thought. After a long time, he said, "I don't know either. After all, this 9-tier void refinement technique isn't some rare cultivation method. This kind of remnant ancient cultivation method is a piece of crap. Every clan has a few, so it doesn't necessarily mean that other clans don't have it as well. Perhaps it's just that the name is different. Some of the cultivation methods passed down by the ancient martial arts sects in the secular world are similar to the cultivation methods in the illusory realm, so it's not unusual. It's not impossible that Yang Qing knew of this cultivation method's existence and casually wrote an obscure cultivation method. Even Patriarch, you didn't notice the uniqueness of this cultivation method, so it must be fake. How could it be a cultivation method that can break through the 9 heavenly thunder tribulation? This Yang Cheng kid is extremely cunning. I was almost fooled by him. Wang Mian said through gritted teeth. He felt extremely ashamed. He had been so smug during the day, but now that he thought about it, it was simply a joke. Luo Qinxiu narrowed his eyes. He was very confident in his own talent and didn't think that this 9-tier void refinement technique was really the endless resolve restoration scripture. After all, for tens of thousands of years, the ancestors of the Luo clan had no lack of outstanding talents who tried to comprehend this cultivation method, but they all failed. He didn't think that Yang Cheng could surpass the countless geniuses of the Luo clan and use this remnant cultivation method to break through the Tai Ching heavenly thunder tribulation. With a flick of his hand, the cultivation method written on the cultivation paper was instantly evaporated by a ball of golden red flame. The 9-tier void refinement technique also flew back to its original position. Luo Qinxiu turned to Wang Mian and said, "All right, you don't have to blame yourself. Yang Cheng is a member of a Yang clan. With that old thing around, it's not easy to deal with him openly. It's not your fault that you couldn't obtain the cultivation method this time. In another year, the Eye of the Demonic will open once every 100 years. You'd better go back and cultivate well, urging the younger generation to work harder and improve their strength. When the time comes, you'll be able to obtain great benefits." As he said this, Luo Qinxiu reached for a cultivation method book from a nearby bookshelf and handed it to Wang Mian. Although this 1,000 Phantoms Frozen Clouds isn't a very profound cultivation method, the spells inside are not bad. It can raise one's battle strength by quite a bit in a short period of time. Take it back and hand it over to a suitable junior to cultivate, Luo Qinxiu said. Wang Mian immediately nodded his head seriously. He valued the opening of the Eye of the Demonic very much. Receiving the cultivation method, he was overjoyed and repeatedly thanked Luo Qinxiu before flying away. After Wang Mian left, Luo Qinxiu walked out of the library and formed a seal to close the door. At this time, a slim and graceful figure descended from the sky. It was a charming woman dressed in a blue cloud-sleeve dress. Her cloud-like hair was tied up high, her beautiful eyes were filled with boundless lust, and her red lips were alluring. "Husband, it's so late, yet you still came to the library to look at cultivation methods?" This beautiful woman was Luo Qinxiu's wife, Lung Qingxiu. It was no coincidence that both of them had the word Qiu in their names. Rather, the Luo family's vassal family, the Lung family, had deliberately added the word Qiu into their names when they were born. Luo Qinxiu's unchanging face was still expressionless as he indifferently looked at the woman. "What are you doing here?" Lung Qingxiu's incomparably seductive and beautiful face was filled with hidden bitterness. "Husband, why do you say that? You've been cultivating in your study for the past month or so. This concubine misses you, so I came to take a look. If you're bored, you can also go into seclusion to cultivate," Luo Qinxiu lightly said. "Husband, you know this concubine doesn't like to cultivate." Lung Qingxiu was used to Luo Qinxiu's coldness and still smiled like a flower. "Hang, husband gone for a few days. Does husband know when he will return?" "He will be back very soon," Luo Qinxiu casually replied. He had no interest in continuing to talk nonsense with his wife. His figure flashed, and he flew back to his study. Lung Qingxiu looked in the direction of the study, her eyes faintly flashing a trace of coldness. The North Pole, thousands of miles of ice, the cold wind biting into the bone. In mid-air, Athena, dressed in a black dress and barefoot, still stood at the top of the world, overlooking the land of ice and snow. Behind her, the black-robed, iron-masked man respectfully looked at the thing in Athena's hand with some fear. It was an object the size of an egg, emitting a faint yellow luster. If one looked closely, they would find that it was Gaia's heart. However, compared to the little yellow dot from before, Gaia's heart was much larger, faintly exuding a kind of majestic divine might that disdains the world. It's time. No one knew who she was talking to. After Athena murmured a sentence, the Gaia's heart in her hand floated down. Shrouded in a yellow light, Gaia's heart fell faster and faster. Finally, it turned into a beam of light and directly pierced under the ice. Penetrating the eternal glacier, Gaia's heart fell into the sea, and then drilled into the deep sea, all the way to the hinterland of the deep sea. When it felt that there was enough soil around, Gaia's heart finally came to a stop. Then, slowly, from all directions, energy that was invisible to the naked eye began to gather towards Gaia's heart. With a thump sound, expanded and contracted, and strangely jumped up. The black-robed man in the sky looked puzzled. He could not help but ask, "Your Excellency, is that all? Why does nothing seem to have happened?" Athena's voice was like an echo from an empty valley, faintly discernible. "You are not of my god race. How can you feel? The recovery of Gaia's heart, no one can stop it. This world, after all, still belongs to our god race. It's time to end the grudge of 10,000 years." Chapter 1469. When Gaia's heart began to beat for the first time, all the gods around the world with quintessence suddenly became spirited. In Hollywood, United States, on the set of a movie, Kristen, who was touching up her makeup, suddenly stood up from the chair, scaring the makeup artist. Is she crazy?" Kristen asked in a daze. In a mansion in London, United Kingdom, a handsome man and a beautiful woman who were doing the most primitive exercise on the big bed stopped their wildest shouts at the same time. Stern's eyes widened as he looked at his sister Alice's eyes that were gradually cooling down. The two swallowed with complex emotions and said in unison, "It has begun." In Dubai, in a luxurious suite of the Sailboat Hotel, Ares, who was wiping his beloved gun, suddenly stood up from the sofa, revealing a wild smile. "Ha! My power is coming back." In the kitchen of a five-star hotel in Honolulu, Hawaii, the Pacific Ocean, the chef, who was cooking a piece of lemon salmon, suddenly pressed down with a spatula in his hand, splitting the salmon into two halves. Under his thick eyebrows, a pair of deep eyes flashed with a burning brilliance. In a dark room in a medieval castle in Italy, a melodious classical opera was playing. Raphael, who was dressed in a suit and leather shoes, was hugging a young Caucasian girl with delicate skin. The dazed girl was leaning against his chest in enjoyment. She had no idea that her neck was being pierced by two fangs, and her sweet blood was being sucked away. Suddenly, Raphael's scarlet pupils contracted and emitted a wild excitement. He grabbed the woman's hands and directly tore the beautiful Caucasian girl in his arms into two halves. In the entire elegant room, blood splattered everywhere, and the beautiful Caucasian girl instantly became a corpse that died with her eyes wide open. "Ha! Ha! Athena, you're really something. Finished so quickly." It was unknown whether he was crying or laughing. Raphael was shaking his body in a daze, as if he was possessed. Tokyo. The sky was already turning white, and the night had passed. Yang Chung suddenly stood up from a chair he had been sitting on all night. He felt the godhood in his mind move. Godhood was something that Yang Chung could not understand. It was the most mysterious thing of the god race. Simply put, it was a kind of spiritual imprint. Every god race had a different imprint, just like the human iris and fingerprint, but it was tens of thousands of times more mysterious. At this moment, Yang Chun could feel that the spiritual energy of his godhead had started to increase. There were no signs of this at all. It was as if some kind of power was being instilled into his body, gradually strengthening his spiritual power. Yang Chung could clearly feel that if this continued, even if he didn't have any profound comprehension of the laws of space, his power would still increase greatly. But why? Was he the only one like this, or were the other gods like this? Just as Yang Chung was feeling puzzled, Hanya's voice came from behind. "Master." Yang Chung suppressed the doubts in his heart and thought of calling Kristen later. He turned around to look at Hanya. "You." Yang Chung was stunned. The Hanya in front of him was already Mengyu. The same clothes, the same appearance, and even the same body shape and temperament. Yang Chung grinned. "Not bad, at least in appearance and feeling. You're already Mengyu." Did the questioning go well? Mengyu smiled sweetly. Yes, she was very cooperative. Because she didn't want to be baptized by so many men, she confessed everything from the beginning. She is not a stupid woman. She naturally knows that forcing herself will only cause harm to herself. She is still useful. Don't let the people below punish her. Just watch. Yang Chung stepped forward and grabbed Hanya's hand. Okay, I will take you to the Meng family. As for how to integrate the Meng family, that is your business. Yes, master. Just as Yang Chung was about to leave, he suddenly remembered something. A large number of the Meng family's direct descendants and the South China Gang's upper echelons had died, but Meng Yu had returned safely. No matter what, it would arouse the suspicions of the people below. He had to fabricate a reasonable explanation so that Hanya could better pretend to be Meng Yu. After thinking for a while, Yang Chung said to Hanya, "Go and prepare a piece of black cloth for me to cut clothes and find a tailor." Hanya did not ask much and immediately did as she was told. With the efficiency of a ninja, it was easy to find these things in a tailor. Yang Chung ordered the Japanese tailor to immediately make a set of clothes for him according to his drawing. It was the black robe worn by Elder Meng Qi. After the black robe was completed, Yang Chung tore a few holes in the robe. It seemed that it was the result of the battle. He looked a bit embarrassed and then put it on himself. In Hanya's surprised eyes, Yang Chung unexpectedly changed into a gray-haired old man. "Master, how did you—" Hanya was a ninjutsu expert. She was sure that Yang Chung did not rely on any illusory magic to change his appearance, but in a way that she was unable to detect. Elder Meng Qi stroked his beard, revealing an unfathomable smile, looking particularly dignified. "You should know who this appearance belongs to," Yang Chung said. "Yes, it should be the dead guardian Elder Meng Qi." Hanya naturally understood the important things clearly. Only then did she dare to replace him. Yang Chung was incomparably proud of himself. His disguise seemed to be perfect. This blinding leaf was really a magical weapon, especially for someone with a high cultivation base like him. With this blinding leaf, he could almost deceive everyone in the world. After suppressing his cultivation base to soul formation stage, Yang Chung pulled Hanya up and said, "Let's go. You can say that this elder protected you and escaped from the clutches of Yang Chung. The other two elders and family members have died in the battle. Then, this elder will show his face and announce that you will take over the secular Meng family. Then, pretend to be injured and need to go into seclusion. No one will dare to disobey you." Hanya's eyes lit up. Yang Cheng's method saved her a lot of tricks. She nodded gratefully and said, "Thank you, master." "Oh no, elder." In just a moment, Yang Chung and Hanya arrived at the Meng family's residence. Sure enough, the Meng family's old residence was already a boiling cauldron of voices, especially the remaining key personnel of the Meng family, Huanan clan's deputy hall masters, Xiangzhu, and so on. All of them brought their men and horses, ready to fight. When Meng Qi and Meng Yu descended from the sky, everyone present was dumbfounded. There was a moment of dead silence. Yang Chung stood with his hands behind his back. His face was gloomy as he glanced at the crowd and said, "What? You want a rebel?" The moment they reacted, almost everyone fell to the ground and cowed out at the same time. "Elder, please spare our lives." They originally thought that Meng Yu and Meng Qi were gone and died without a complete corpse. But now that they saw Meng Yu was still alive and the elder was here, how could they dare to have any thoughts of seizing power? After all, they were just ordinary people. Who could do anything to Meng Qi? Yang Chung was secretly happy. It turned out that impersonating others to do bad things was such an interesting thing. Unfortunately, he still had other things to do and couldn't stay and play. So, after Yang Chung announced a series of orders such as Meng Yu taking over as the head of the family, he flew away. Hanya continued to act. She arrogantly looked at the crowd and began to manage the Meng family one by one with the same voice and tone as Meng Yu. In a few days, when the Jonin of Yamada's sect entered the Meng family, she could gradually deal with the original Meng family's people and insert her own confidence. Then, she could completely control the secular power of the Meng family and wait for the power behind the Meng family to appear. After leaving Hanzhong City, Yang Chung changed back to his original appearance and directly rushed to Los Angeles in the United States. He hadn't seen his old friend Kristen for a while. Thinking that he had something to ask about the divine spark, he went to see her. When he arrived in the United States, it was nighttime. Yang Cheng could sense Kristen's divine power and quickly determined that she was in his home. With a flash, Yang Cheng entered the balcony of the second floor of Kristen's mansion. The last time he came, Yang Cheng also enjoyed the service of a maid here. He didn't know if the maid had been replaced or not. Kristen was naturally aware of Yang Chen's arrival. A beautiful blonde woman dressed in thin, white, translucent pajamas. Her perky breasts were half exposed. She pushed open the door and walked out, looking languid yet charming. "My dear Hades, I thought you would call me during the day. So, you want to give me a surprise at night?" Chapter 1470. It's not that late. I just ran some errands. Yang Cheng pulled a chair and sat down naturally. "Since you knew I would contact you, then I'm sure I'm not the only one who felt it. Tell me, what is it? Why did my divine essence suddenly start to rise? I can feel it. It's still rising. What a bummer. Are you going to ask me those boring questions when I'm dressed like this?" Kristen suddenly sat on Yang Cheng's thighs. Her two plump buttocks squeezed Yang Cheng's thighs, and her two arms hooked around Yang Cheng's neck. Yang Cheng could only smell the seductive fragrance of a woman. His chin was facing Kristen's proud pink flesh. It seemed that if he lowered his head slightly, he would be able to take a bite of that white, tender flesh. The charm of an international superstar, her perfect appearance and figure were equally attractive to Yang Cheng. But Yang Cheng could still hold on. He smiled bitterly and said, "You're suddenly like this. Do you mean that you don't want to answer me? You'll make me think that you're hiding something important from me." Kristen wiggled her waist like a water snake. Her buttocks were stiff, which made the huge thing between Yang Cheng's legs start to rise. After the woman sensed Yang Cheng's abnormality, she moved closer to Yang Cheng's ear and bit Yang Cheng's earlobe. She smiled and said, "Dear Yang Cheng, how about this? You fill the emptiness in me, and I'll tell you the truth. You know, I haven't done it in this life. It's very tight inside." Yang Cheng's throat made a gulp sound. His blood vessels expanded and his blood surged. This woman was too good at talking. Ordinary men would probably twitch with excitement when they heard this condition. But Yang Cheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What was this? He wasn't a duck. The number of men who want to fill up your emptiness will have to queue all the way to Australia. Kristen snorted. "Every time I reincarnate, there will be men, but they are all men that I like. The men in this era are too lousy, but I think you're not bad. Thank you for the compliment. Since you think so highly of me, I'd be making a fool out of myself if I continue to be unreasonable. How about this? You tell me the truth, and I'll make it up to you twice." Yang Cheng said with a naughty smile. Yang Cheng knew that if Kristen really wanted to have a relationship with him, they would have done it a long time ago. He was not a good person, and it was not like Kristen had never had a man before. Both of them were people with godhood, and the intertwining of the spiritual plane was very complicated. To put it bluntly, the physical body was just a shell. Yang Cheng believed that if he wanted to get on top of Kristen, she would not refuse, and the two of them could become very good partners in bed. However, Yang Cheng knew that it was because Kristen had a deep relationship with the previous underworld king. As for the specifics, Yang Cheng did not know and could only understand a little from the godhood. However, the previous underworld king had abandoned Kristen and dispersed his consciousness. Obviously, he had hurt Kristen's heart. Reincarnation did not mean the end. They could still be together, but dispersing their consciousness meant that they would never return. More or less, Kristen had invested those feelings into him, so he was relatively close to her. However, Yang Cheng did not like to have a relationship with Kristen in such a situation, because that way, Yang Cheng would feel that he was a little despicable and had used Kristen's feelings for the previous underworld king. For the Lord God who had lived for tens of thousands of years, such feelings were actually precious and sacred. "You're really annoying. You won't even eat the meat that was sent to your mouth, Hades. Am I really not as good as your wife and lovers?" Kristen pretended to be angry and said. Yang Cheng shook his head. "All right, Aphrodite, we're friends. I know you. I hope you don't hide it anymore." What happened? Yang Chen's expression turned solemn and serious, which caused the ambiguous pink atmosphere to cool down. Kristen exhaled softly and got up from Yang Cheng. She stretched out her finger and poked Yang Cheng's forehead, still a little angry. Walking to the balcony railing, looking at the lights of Beverly Hills, Kristen sighed. It's Gaia's heart. Athena has really revived Gaia's heart. Yang Cheng was not surprised. He had also expected this situation, although he still did not know what Gaia's heart was. Does the revival of Gaia's heart mean that the power of the gods will gradually recover? Yang Cheng frowned. I remember when I was in Korea, Stern, Alice, and Athena talked about Gaia's heart. It seemed that it would have a huge impact on the whole world, involving the meaning of destruction and so on. But at that time, they did not tell me the specific content. Don't you want to give me an explanation? Kristen looked back helplessly and smiled. What explanation can I give you? You've also felt it. Gaia's heart has been revived, and our strength is gradually recovering. That's it. Athena wants to revive the Protoss, and she has officially begun to take steps forward. What does she want? Is she going to slaughter humans like she did 20,000 years ago? Yang Cheng was surprised. Kristen shook her head. I don't know. Her thoughts have always been difficult to guess. And even if we know what she wants to do, who can stop her? Yang Cheng was silent. Indeed, Athena's strength was too unfathomable. Even if he had improved his strength again, he still did not dare to say that he could fight against Athena. Moreover, with the revival of Gaia's heart, the strength of this woman was still constantly improving. Just when Yang Cheng wanted to ask something, his phone suddenly vibrated. Yang Cheng looked at it. It was Yang Goming's phone call. Kid, go back to Yanjing. What happened? Yang Cheng was surprised that the old man called him so early. Such a big thing happened to the Meng family. Do you think number one will let you go so easily? Do you think you can do whatever you want in the whole of Huaxia with such a small amount of oil? Yang Cheng also knew that relying on Hanya to pretend to be Meng, you was unlikely to completely calm down. He asked, Old man, is it number one who wants to see me? Come back and wait in Zongnanhai. I will go with you. Yang Gongming said in a deep voice. Yang Cheng was not too worried. Since number one wants to see him, most likely it is to talk and not to directly suppress him. Moreover, even if he wants to suppress him, he may not be able to do it. Yang Cheng was not the same as before. After hanging up the phone, Yang Cheng smiled apologetically at Kristen. I have to go. Kristen stretched out her hand and played with her long golden hair. She smiled sweetly. You seem to be in trouble again. I wish you good luck. It seems that the matter of Gaia's heart can only be taken one step at a time. Yang Cheng waved away the doubts in his mind. He didn't think too much about it. He got up and said, I know you didn't tell me everything, but I hope that no matter what happens in the future, we will always be friends. Christine did not say anything. She only smiled slightly, with a deep meaning. Yang Cheng's figure quickly disappeared from the balcony and flew to Yanjing. He found that he was really busy without a moment to rest. On the balcony of the mansion, Kristen stared at the direction where Yang Cheng went and sighed in self-pity. Friends, Hades, you idiot, I don't want to be your friend at all. How I wish to be with you once more. I don't want to say these things to you again. In the future, there will be no more chances. Zhonghai, Shijiao Villas. Early in the morning, on the second floor of the mansion where Xiao Qiqing lived, in the woman's boudoir, Xiao Qiqing was sleeping soundly under the quilt. At this time, the door was opened. Mother Wang's figure walked in. Looking at her daughter's room, computer parts scattered everywhere and several screens that were still running. Mother Wang smiled helplessly and shook her head. She didn't know why this child fell in love with computers. It was not like a girl at all. But she also knew that Xiao Qiqing could not cultivate, so she felt that it was not bad for her to have this hobby. Walking to the bedside, Mother Wang lifted a corner of the quilt and pulled Xiao Qiqing's smooth white arm. Qinger, wake up! Xiao Qiqing lazily opened her sleepy eyes and twisted her delicate body. She pouted her pink lips and mumbled, Mom, I still want to sleep. What do you want to sleep for? Didn't you say that you will go with me to your grandmother's house yesterday? If you don't leave early, you won't be able to get there in the afternoon. Mother Wong patted her daughters but smiled dotingly. After all, Mother Wong was only about 50 years old. Her parents were still alive in their hometown. They had already known that their granddaughter, Xiao Qi Qing, had returned. Although they were kept in the dark and didn't know the truth, they still met her twice these days. They liked her very much and asked Mother Wong to bring her granddaughter to see them more often. Xiao Qi Qing remembered that she really had to go to her grandmother's house today. She helplessly pouted and sat up from the bed. Mother Wong looked at her daughter, whose hair was messy and whose expression was blank. The more she looked at her, the more adorable she felt. She couldn't help but hug Xiao Qi Qing and kissed her daughter's face a few times. "Oh, my Qing smells so good." Xiao Qi Qing felt like she was a doll that was being hugged, touched, and kissed by Mother Wong. But on her face, there was a sweet and happy smile. With her mother around, she felt the warmth that she had never felt in the past 10 years. "All right, Mom, go down and make me some breakfast first. I'll go down soon after I take a shower." Mother Wong agreed and was about to get up. But as soon as she stood up, she was shocked. On the balcony, there was a handsome young man with black hair, red lips, and white teeth. He was sneering at the mother and daughter. Chapter 1471. Xiao Qi Qing saw her mother suddenly standing there in a daze, staring at the balcony. She turned her head in confusion, but with just a glance, her pretty face immediately turned pale, and her beautiful face lost all color. The person who came was naturally Luo Hang. At this moment, seeing the mother and daughter's expressions of fear, his smile became more and more complacent. He stretched out his hand and gently pulled the tempered glass door, destroying the lock. Seeing Luo Hang enter the room, Xiao Qi Qing suddenly became alert. She didn't care that she was still wearing her pajamas and got up from the bed, pushing Mother Wong outside. "Mom, go. Get out." Mother Wong saw her daughter panicking, and how could she not know that the person who came was not good? She hugged Xiao Qi Qing and said, "What are you saying? Who is this person?" "Qinger, don't push me." "Oh, so this is your birth mother in the secular world." There are quite a few similarities. Luo Hang glanced back and forth between the mother and daughter with great interest. At this time, two figures jumped up to the balcony from below. Impressively, it was Luo Xiao and the gray-haired old man, Luo Lei. The moment they saw Luo Xiao, Xiao Qi Qing and Mother Wong's expression suddenly changed. "It's you?" Xiao Qi Qing seemed to understand something. Pointing at Luo Xiao, her face flushed with anger, she gritted her teeth and said, "I trusted you so much, and even asked my husband to let you go last time." Luo Xiao was just worried and wanted to come up to take a look. She never thought that Xiao Qi Qing would think that she told Luo Hang her whereabouts. For a moment, Luo Xiao was at a loss for words. She kept shaking her head, saying no, but she didn't know how to explain Luo Hang's arrival. Mother Wong was confused. She recognized Luo Xiao. She had once bumped into this girl at the shoe store and even had some conflict with Yang Cheng. Why was she here? Luo Hang's face was gloomy. He sneered and said, "Slut, not only did you dare to defy me, Luo Hang, and escape from the illusion, you also dare to call another man husband in front of me? Looks like you've forgotten your lowly status." Xiao Qi Qing's heart had already turned gloomy. She knew that she couldn't escape. Yang Cheng wasn't around, and there weren't any strong cultivators around. They were completely powerless to resist. In fact, when she saw the old man, Luo Lei, she felt lucky. Luckily, Yang Cheng didn't let Xiang Wei or Kai Ning come to Zhonghai to protect her, because they were no match for Luo Lei. As the successor of the Luo family, Luo Qinqiu clearly protected Luo Hang much better than he did Luo Xiao. Luo Lei, an expert, followed him out of the illusion. He was the old butler of the Luo family and had considerable strength. "If you want to take me back, I can't stop you, but I hope you can let my mother go." Xiao Qi Qing struggled out of Mother Wong's embrace with tears in her eyes and walked forward. Mother Wong's heart skipped a beat when she heard that. She was so scared that she rushed over to block her daughter. No one could take my Qing away. She had lost her daughter for more than 10 years. How could she let someone else take her away? She might as well let her die. Mother Wang wasn't stupid. She roughly knew who this young man was. She knew a lot about Xiao Qiqing's experience in the illusion. There are many wild women in the secular world. It's true. Who do you think you are? How dare you stop this young master? Luo Hang sneered. Fine. I was just thinking about how to bring that bitch back to torture her. I'll first kill you, her biological mother, and give her her first retribution. No. Xiao Qiqing screamed in shock. She frantically pulled Mother Wang, trying to push Mother Wang out. However, Mother Wang wouldn't let go of Xiao Qiqing no matter what. The mother and daughter cried and screamed in grief. Luo Xiao couldn't stand it anymore. She weakly begged, Brother, don't do this. Sister-in-law is very pitiful. Shut up. You don't have the right to speak here. Luo Hang glared at the girl. I'll settle the score with you when we get back. How dare you hide this from me and father? Luo Xiao bit her lip. She didn't dare to make a sound. She knew that her pleading was futile. The old butler Luo Lei said without batting an eyelid, Young master, old master has instructed us to only capture Xiao Qiqing. We're not allowed to interfere in the secular world. We don't want to be criticized by Hong Meng and the other two families. Please reconsider. The bigger picture is more important. Luo Hang was more obedient to Luo Lei. Although he was unwilling, he could only give up. All right, I'll listen to Master Lei. I'll spare this old bitch today. After that, Luo Hang's figure moved. He came in front of Mother Wang and Xiao Qiqing. He reached out and grabbed the two of them. Mother Wang was grabbed by the collar and slammed into the wall behind her. She fainted and was thrown to the ground. Mom! Xiao Qiqing cried her heart out. She couldn't escape from Luo Hang's hands. Luo Hang grabbed Xiao Qiqing's face with one hand and sent a stream of true yuan into Xiao Qiqing's body with the other. When he sensed the changes in Xiao Qiqing's body and realized that she was no longer a virgin, he couldn't help but feel resentful. Bitch, you slut. You really got together with that bastard from the Yang family. Why didn't you use your 9 meridians to poison him? This young master doesn't want a woman, so it's not your turn to lick. Good, that's good. Since you've already lost your chastity to someone else, I won't have to pretend to marry you from the Xiao family. It'll save me a lot of effort. For the rest of your life, follow me back to the Luo family and obediently be a drug-testing bitch. Tears fell from Xiao Qiqing's eyes. Her gaze was still on the unconscious Mother Wang, and she couldn't care less about her own situation. Luo Hang thought that the woman didn't take him seriously and became even angrier. He fiercely slapped Xiao Qiqing's delicate face. Xiao Qiqing didn't have any cultivation, so she fainted from the slap. Her face became red and swollen again. Young master, it's time to go. Master said that once we catch the person, we'll return. Got it. Luo Hang was in an extremely bad mood. He impatiently roared and turned around. He grabbed Xiao Qiqing and flew away. Luo Lei lightly sighed. He grabbed Luo Xiao, who had tears in her eyes, and left. Beijing Zongnanhai. A quiet and solemn atmosphere filled the entire luxurious and reserved office building. Yang Cheng and Yang Gongming, who was dressed in a Chinese tunic suit, stood outside a wide red wooden door. The bodyguards of Zongnanhai stood on both sides like steel. Although Chief Number 1 allowed the grandfather and grandson to come, he didn't see them immediately. Instead, he said that he had something to do and asked them to wait for a while. This wait lasted for a quarter of an hour. Yang Cheng could use his divine sense to detect that there was only Chief Number 1 inside. This was clearly a show of strength. If it wasn't for Yang Gongming stopping him, Yang Cheng would have smashed the door and grabbed Chief Number 1 by his collar. Do you know who I am? Unfortunately, Yang Cheng couldn't. It wasn't that he didn't dare to, but he was afraid of trouble. He was afraid of causing trouble for Yang Gongming and the others. In the whole of China, the only person who could make an old marshal like Yang Gongming wait outside the door for more than 10 minutes without making a sound was probably Number 1 inside. Old man, I think Chief Number 1 is too busy and won't see us for a long time. Why don't we go to the opposite side of the road and have a bowl of soy milk? Yang Cheng said with a smile. Yang Gongming turned to look at him and said with a smile, Soy milk. I haven't had it in years. It tastes weird. I should drink it. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Yang Cheng pulled the old man's sleeve. Yang Gongming shook his head. Even if we want to drink it, wait until we see Chief Number 1. The corner of Yang Cheng's mouth twitched. Isn't he trying to put me in my place? I don't even know why his thinking is as childish as child's. Let's talk nicely. What's the point of pretending? Don't talk nonsense. Is Chief Number 1 someone you can comment on? Yang Gongming frowned. Yang Chen sighed. In fact, he wasn't very confident. He didn't know what kind of background Number 1 had to be able to control the whole of China, including the forces in the illusion. Therefore, he didn't dare to be too arrogant. To put it simply, Yang Chen trusted Yang Gongming. This old man was definitely not someone who was afraid of trouble. Back then, he dared to hand over the Yang family to him. He didn't even bat an eyelid when surrounded by the army. He was so cautious with Chief Number 1. This Chief Number 1 was definitely not someone he could underestimate. Just as Yang Cheng was feeling depressed about how much longer he had to wait, there was movement in the office. The footsteps came to the door and opened it from the inside. A middle-aged man with a warm smile and shiny hair appeared. He was slightly plump. I'm sorry, old Yang. I've kept you and your grandsons waiting. I have some business to attend to. Chief Number 1 looked at Yang Cheng with a smile. You must be Yang Cheng. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. Come in and take a seat. Chapter 1472. Yang Cheng's brain short-circuited on the spot. It was not because he was nervous to see a big shot, but because Number 1 actually came to open the door by himself. Yang Cheng thought he would shout from inside, "You can come in now." Then the two of them would push the door open and enter in a low voice respectfully. But this guy actually came to invite the two of them in by himself. It had to be said that after Number 1's behavior, the anger that Yang Cheng had been holding back disappeared. One would not hit a smiling person. Yang Gongming patted Yang Cheng's shoulder, motioning him not to be in a daze. He nodded to Number 1 with a smile and walked in. After entering the office, they found a sofa and sat down. To Yang Cheng's surprise, Number 1 ran to the water dispenser to get some tea leaves and teacups and began to make tea for the two of them. I only have green tea here. I don't have any coffee from abroad. Yang Cheng, you just came back from abroad, right? Can you drink tea? If not, I'll ask someone to get some coffee for you. What's the name of the new guy in the secretariat? Oh, right. His name is Liang Hao. He just came back from the United States. He loves to drink coffee. There are many kinds. I can ask him to get some. Just like that, Number 1 muttered to himself as he bent over and picked the tea leaves. No. I'll just drink whatever I want. Yang Cheng's face was a little stiff. The situation seemed to be very different from what he had imagined. Haha, tea is good. It can detoxify and nourish the skin. It can also fight cancer. A powerful cultivator like you is certainly not afraid of these things, but ordinary people like us have to take care of our bodies. As Number 1 spoke, he had already filled 2 cups of hot tea. He even brought them to the grandfather and grandson and put them on the coffee table. Yang Cheng indeed found that Number 1 did not have any cultivation. He couldn't help but wonder, with your ability, can't you get some elixirs that can quickly improve your cultivation? Number 1 waved his hand, sat down, and said, It seems that you don't know. Our Huaxia has a rule. The person sitting in my position is not allowed to be a member of the 4 big families, nor is he allowed to have any cultivation. Otherwise, wouldn't I become an emperor when I'm over 100 years old? Yang Cheng thought about it and agreed. If that was the case, the previous Number 1 was quite pitiful. They knew that they could live forever, but they could only look on enviously. Chief Number 1 didn't care much about that. He said in a casual manner, Just now we talked about the young man named Liang Hao. Yang Cheng, do you know which family he is from? That's right, it's the Liang family that was badly hurt by you. I thought the Liang family was pitiful, so I recruited him into the secretariat. At least the Liang family will have a chance to have a young cadre in a few years. Sigh, Yang Cheng, you brat, you've never stopped making me worry ever since you came back to the country. Old Marshal Yang is getting old. If you don't calm down, when will the Yang family be able to take over? Yang Cheng scratched his head, feeling as if he was being lectured by an elder. Looking at the old man beside him, who was acting as if this matter had nothing to do with him, he felt even more conflicted. That. What should I call you, boss? Number 1? Chief. Or uncle. Either is fine. You can call me uncle. I'm from the same generation as your father. Number 1 said cheerfully. Yang Chung smiled stiffly and shouted in his heart, Brother, are you kidding me? But he responded, I'd better call you uncle. Uncle, didn't you ask me to come here today to ask about the Meng family? Are you here to chat with me? Oh, of course I didn't forget. Since you were so impatient, then say it. Chief number 1 said very politely. Yang Chung was confused for a while. Didn't you ask me to come here to talk? Why did it become me who wanted to talk to you? This feeling of being played in the palm of others made Yang Chung frown. Number 1 put away his smile and earnestly said, Yang Chung, from the last time you were willing to provide 60 million tons of crude oil for Huaxia every year at half price, I can see that you are still a patriotic young man. I am very pleased. Yang Chung thought that he was not forced to do it. Thinking of that matter, he still felt pain. But number 1 changed the topic. The so-called reward and punishment are clear. I am sitting in this position, so I must put the national interest first and the overall situation first. Even if I know that your heart is patriotic, I can't ignore the damage you cause to the stability of a national structure. The deterrence of the Meng family in the 4 provinces of the Central Plains is related to the social stability of the entire central part of Huaxia. Huazhong Industry is also a big company that the country values very much. Every year, it provides considerable help to the national construction. Now that you have killed Meng Kaiyuan and other direct descendants of the Meng family, and a large number of senior members of the Huanan gang, this originally impregnable central region has become unstable. Have you ever thought about what the impact will be? Yang Chun was secretly nervous. Could it be that number 1 even knows that Mengyu is fake? After all, his speed is so fast. It is impossible for him to directly catch up to Japan and see all the changes. Listening to this, he realized that number 1 should not know. So he was relieved and said, Isn't there Mengyu? That woman is capable enough. She is also a direct descendant of the Meng family. Mengyu? She is capable, but if she wants to stabilize the whole Central Plains, she is too young. Her deterrence is not enough, and her subordinates are not capable. It is difficult to achieve in a short period of time. What's more, you are now provoking the real Meng family behind the Meng family. It is not something that you can contend with alone. If they rush out regardless of the consequences, do you know what kind of disaster it will cause? Number 1's tone deepened, carrying a heavy sense of warning. Yang Chung was not a soft persimmon. He snorted and said, If I don't kill them, they will come to kill me. Do you want me to wait for death? I don't have that habit. You may not be afraid, but you have to think about the whole Yang family. Think about the little girls who follow you and your daughter. Can you protect all of them? Number 1 asked with a smile. Yang Cheng's eyes were full of killing intent. He sneered and said, I also want to ask you, what is the force behind the Meng family? At worst, I will go to their nest and kill them all. Yang Chung was not joking or boasting. Before, he lost his cultivation base, so his hands and feet were tied. Now that he has climbed to a new peak, and with the chaos cauldron in his hand, Yang Chung felt that the force behind the Meng family may not be as strong as him. Instead of being restricted by them, it is better to turn the tables and kill his way up the mountain. At that time, if he can kill and devour some masters at the same time, maybe his cultivation base can reach a higher level. He might even be able to cross the Shangqing divine lightning tribulation. Number 1 looked at Yang Chung with some surprise. I didn't expect you to be so bold. Yang Gongming finally sighed softly and said, Sir, please excuse me. My grandson is a little hot-tempered and can't keep his cool. It doesn't matter. Number 1 waved his hand, indicating that it doesn't matter. He looked at Yang Cheng's murderous eyes and said, Do you really think you have the ability to fight against the forces behind the Meng family? Neither servile nor overbearing, Yang Chen looked at the middle-aged man with authority and asked, What do you think? Number 1 thought very seriously and shook his head. In fact, I'm not very clear, but you can try. Try? How? Are you going to tell me where they are? Number 1 pointed at his feet. You don't need to go anywhere, just here. Yang Chen looked puzzled. What did this mean? However, in the next second, Yang Cheng's heart was set off a huge wave. Was this true essence pressure? A majestic wave of true essence that was like a raging sea that wanted to swallow him into the abyss of the endless seabed, swept over for no reason. It was as if a palm had condensed out of the void and grabbed him and squeezed him. Yang Cheng instantly released and circulated the power of heaven and earth in his body to fight against it. The strength of this aura exceeded that of any opponent Yang Chun had faced before. What cultivation? Ruo Shui? Tai Ching Heavenly Thunder? Could it be Shang Qing Heavenly Thunder Tribulation? Yang Cheng's face turned red. His blood vessels expanded, and the power of heaven and earth resisted with all his might. He even used the chaos cauldron, trying to use the power of chaos to swallow the true essence that was being exerted. However, the cultivation gap between him and that person was too big, and activating the chaos cauldron was useless. It was like he had infinite strength, but his hands were too short to reach what he wanted to grab. On the side, Yang Gongming saw that Yang Cheng suddenly began to sweat, his body trembled, and his throat made a painful GG sound. He looked like he was in incomparable pain, and his eyebrows wrinkled. Chief Number 1 was calm and unruffled, as if he had expected this. He smiled and asked, "How is it? Do you still have confidence?" Chapter 1473. At this moment, Yang Cheng really wanted to curse, but he really couldn't open his mouth. The pressure was too strong, and the precise control made him speechless. It was obviously enough to raise the entire Zongnanhai to the ground, but it was condensed around his body by that expert who was out of nowhere. Even the sofa he was sitting on was unaffected. Yang Cheng knew that he couldn't control it so terrifyingly, and the opponent's cultivation was obviously much higher than his. So how could he dare to show off? He had always followed the principle of where there's life, there's hope. If he couldn't beat the opponent, he would hide first. Yang Cheng was unwilling, but he very neatly shook his head, indicating that he had given up. In an instant, the pressure of the true essence receded like a flood and disappeared without a trace. Yang Cheng broke out in cold sweat and leaned against the sofa as if he was about to collapse, his chest rising and falling as he took deep breaths. With his current physique, even Yang Cheng himself felt that it was inconceivable that he would be tormented like this. He looked around with some lingering fear. In this office, there was only Number 1 and himself. Could that guy be outside Zongnanhai? Yes, the opponent's cultivation was higher than his. If he wanted to hide, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to find a trace of him. Come, have a sip of tea. Number 1 picked up the teacup and handed it to Yang Cheng, as amiable as before. The only thing missing was that he said, "Calm down." This time, Yang Cheng learned to be obedient. He was under someone else's roof, so he had to lower his head. He hurriedly took the teacup and took a sip. This big brother actually had such an expert by his side. No wonder he could control the situation. He also didn't know if that person used his true strength. At least it wouldn't be below the Tai Ching Heavenly Thunder. Shang Qing? Could it be Yu Qing? Yang Cheng didn't dare to think too much about it. Where did this old monster come from? It was too terrifying. In his heart, he pondered what Number 1 meant. Seeing that Yang Cheng was fine, Yang Gongming relaxed his tense nerves and said calmly, "I told you, don't be rash." Yang Cheng put down the teacup and lowered his head to think. Then he raised his eyes and said very seriously, "Well, I think it's time to think about it. I was a little abrupt just now. I wonder what Chief Number 1 would like to say." When Yang Cheng finished speaking, Yang Gongming's eyebrows couldn't help but jump. He squinted at his grandson as if to say, "You change your face too fast, kid." However, Number 1 said humbly, "I'm not teaching. I'm just an ordinary public servant. I'm doing my duty in my position. I always want to do my duty for the stability and development of the country and the consolidation of social harmony." Following that, Number 1 gave Yang Chen a report that wasn't too long but wasn't too short either. It was about him giving his all to the cause, but there were always difficulties and obstacles waiting for him, which made it difficult for him to do anything alone. Yang Cheng felt that when he saw the news before, this guy's words were not so annoying. But now that he said it face to face, it was like chanting scriptures. In the end, number one finally finished the preamble and said, "The Meng family wants to go to war with you. It's not good for anyone, but it's not good for the stability of the country. I think it's better to do this. I'll find a way to help you mediate. Meng family still has Mengyu. Let her continue to help the Meng family manage the secular forces. As for the Meng family, this time they took the initiative to provoke you, but they can't come up with any evidence to say that you took their treasure. They were wrong, so they should admit their mistake and learn a lesson." Yang Cheng touched his chin. He felt that this condition was a bit tempting, so he asked, "Then I have to pay something. Number one, what do you want this time?" Number one righteously reprimanded, "Yang Cheng, I'm very serious. The government officials can't use their power for personal gain. I won't ask you for anything. It's the country that needs you to make your due contribution. If you're poor, you should be good to yourself. If you're rich, you should help the world. Our country believes that the rich first drive the rich later. Young people like you, who have the ability and capital, should come back from abroad and do something practical for the ordinary people." Yang Cheng was about to cry. He grinned and asked, "Well, I was wrong then. Chief, what do you think I should do for the ordinary people?" Number one nodded with satisfaction. He got up and walked to the desk. He took a piece of white paper with a lot of things written on it and put it in front of Yang Cheng. "Before you came in, I wrote this. It's a list. If you think it's okay, then you can sign it or put your fingerprint on it. As long as you follow the terms on it, you will be the pillar of our country. Of course, we will reward and protect the important citizens who have made great contributions to the country." Number one said with a smile. Yang Cheng picked up the paper. Just by casually glancing at it, his eyeballs almost fell to the ground. It was marked that in the next 3 years, precious resources such as oil, iron ore, potash, and bauxite were to be imported from abroad at a low price. There is also some secret information in the field of cutting-edge science and technology. Most of them were things that other countries were researching. 30 kilograms of ultra-high enriched uranium. Yang Cheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Where can I find this thing? Who has nothing better to do than to wait for someone to steal the atomic bomb material? Oh, no. Then I'll delete this one." Number one seemed to be very generous as he took a red pen and deleted one of the messages. Yang Cheng frowned and looked at it for a while. He said seriously, "Sir, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but it involves strategic weapons such as the Aegis shield, the Ford-class aircraft carrier, and the stealth technology of my Ghost fleet. I can't give you these. This will affect the war pattern of the entire human world. It's a violation of the Treaty of Gods. The other main gods will not forgive me." Chief number one was very straightforward. He smiled and nodded. After a few swipes, he erased the terms that involved the war. "So, you accept the rest, right?" Yang Cheng was very distressed. It seemed that Chief number one had already planned to cancel these terms. He deliberately pretended to be very accommodating. If he agreed to these terms, it would be impossible to do without at least $3 or $4 billion US. Moreover, it would have to be in cash. Fortunately, he had gotten a lot of money and assets from Masterbug. Otherwise, he would have to spend a lot of money again. He might even have to reduce his army's armed forces. That would be too embarrassing. "Deal." Yang Cheng picked up the pen and signed his name. After that, he said bitterly, "Now, the Meng family's matter has come to an end for the time being. If he could let Hanya reorganize the Huanan gang, he would always have a chance to get money back." Number one looked at the contract worth more than $30 billion US with satisfaction. He nodded and said, "You really deserve to be the descendant of the Yang family. I think old Marshal Yang Yi in heaven will be very happy to have a descendant like you. You don't have to worry about the Meng family. They have made enough trouble. Just let the younger generation take over. I won't let them trouble you again." Number one said it very simply. He did have this ability. Originally, for number one, the stable development of the country was the first important thing. The second was to leave a good reputation in history. The Meng family and Yang Cheng were incompatible like fire and water. He would not allow them to destroy the long-term stability of the country. And Yang Cheng repeatedly sent nearly $70 billion US worth of gifts. In fact, they were strategic materials that could make his political achievements advance by leaps and bounds. Of course, he was happy. Yang Gongming has been silently watching from the side. Seeing that Yang Cheng didn't think much and sent more than 30 billion US dollars, he couldn't help but secretly sigh. He looked down on his grandson. He was really rich. Only Yang Cheng knew that he was just spitting out the wealth that he robbed. When everything was handled properly, Yang Gongming and Yang Cheng got up and prepared to leave. Yang Cheng couldn't help but ask number one, "Sir, that master just now, was he your bodyguard?" Number one showed a puzzled look. He was full of doubts. He frowned and said, "Master? Bodyguard? Who are you talking about? Did someone come just now?" Yang Cheng thought that his acting skills were not bad, but compared with this person, he admitted defeat. He cupped his hands in admiration and said a sentence. "The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow forever. We will meet again someday. Goodbye." Yang Cheng turned around and left. This was too much of a bully. Not only was he extorted, he didn't even know who played him. But Yang Cheng was not really angry. To be honest, he wanted to thank number one. If he hadn't come here today, Yang Cheng wouldn't have known that there was such a terrifying master hidden in Huaxia. If he thought that he was invincible and swaggered around, he might not even know how he died. When Yang Gongming and his grandson left, the smile on number one's face disappeared. He looked up at the ceiling with a deep sense of respect. Chapter 1474. When Yang Cheng and Yang Gongming left Zongnanhai, they didn't forget to accompany Yang Gongming to find a slightly high-class quiet shop. They found a private room, drank 2 bowls of bean milk, and ate some side dishes. They deliberately found such a quiet place because Yang Gongming didn't like to be disturbed. After all, he was a very familiar big shot in the hearts of some middle-aged and old Huaxia people. Neither of them mentioned much about what happened at number one's place. Instead, they talked about the chubby little girl situation and the women's situation. "You still haven't reconciled with Ruashi?" Yang Gongming suddenly asked without warning. Yang Cheng was biting the horseshoe sesame seed cake. When he heard this, his face stiffened, and he smiled embarrassedly. "Old man, aren't you talking nonsense? With your ability, how can you not know our current situation?" Yang Gongming lowered his head and drank a mouthful of bean milk, and said expressionlessly, "This kind of thing, only the people involved know that the people outside can't hear the wall. Give me a definite message. When can you get my granddaughter-in-law back?" Yang Cheng was resentful and said without confidence, "I have promised Ruashi that I won't force her. Now I can only think of her as long as there are benefits and try to do more things for her. As for other things, I don't think about it for the time being." "Bastard, are you still a man?" Yang Gongming suddenly shouted in a low voice, and his old eyes flashed with a touch of anger. "Hey, old man, you don't know the complicated situation between me and Ruashi, so don't scold me there. Don't think that I don't dare to scold you just because you are 2 generations older than me." Yang Cheng was indignant. Yang Gongming didn't take this guy's words seriously at all. He pointed at Yang Cheng's nose and scolded, "A man can't even handle a woman. What can happen between you and Ruashi? It's just that you're not faithful in your relationship and have a child with another woman first. What's the big deal about that? Compared to national affairs, the overall situation of the world, and even the matters between Hong Ming and the deities, this is nothing." Yang Cheng was stunned. He never thought that Yang Gongming would ask such a question. On the other hand, it seemed to make sense. It's not like you're some good, honest guy. Just now, you gave number one more than 30 billion. I don't believe that all of that money was yours. You must have made a fortune from somewhere, didn't you? Yang Gongming's eyes flashed as if he could see through Yang Cheng's heart. Yang Cheng gulped. His expression clearly showed that he had been seen through. Wasn't that right? Otherwise, how could he be so generous? He was extorted twice in a row. No matter what, he had to cross off a few more conditions. You think I don't know you? You have a knack for deceiving women. Otherwise, why would those beautiful girls follow you so loyally and die for you? Could it be that they knew your identity and ability from the beginning? Use your slippery head more, and use the evil water in your stomach. Even if you have to lie, you have to trick Ruashi back for me. Yang Gongming pointed at Yang Cheng's nose and said, Yang Cheng laughed awkwardly. That this old man, don't give me bullshit asterisk T. I don't want to hear any reason. The biggest reason is the matter between a man and a woman. Don't tell me that if you two are together, the world will be destroyed tomorrow. How many of these rich kids in Yinjing are clean? Instead of cheating, it's better to be honest. The descendants of my Yang family didn't divorce the woman, but were dumped by the woman. If this gets out, where would I put my old face? How would our Yang family go out and face the world? Your mother might have said something else to you, telling you to find another woman to marry, but she has a woman's point of view, so she didn't listen. I didn't tell you before because I believe that you, this brat, are bold enough to not let that girl Ruashi play with her temper. Now it seems, oh, you dropped the ball at the critical moment? Yang Gongming poked at Yang Cheng's nose and scolded. Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. No matter how I hear it, it sounds like you're insulting me. You've already said that I'm worse than a beast. How could I bear to harm Ruashi? Brat, you really want to anger me to death. Yang Gongming seemed to have held it in for too long. The moment he opened his mouth, he couldn't help but gasp for breath as he shouted, "If you use 1/10 of your comprehension ability to cultivate and use it to deal with family matters, then there wouldn't be so many bastard things happening. How do you know that you're harming Ruashi by not letting her go? You're not her. How do you know that she's not saying what she means? Women's words are always ironic. This old man knows better than you. How could you not know? Think about it carefully. Now that Ruashi is separated from you, have you seen any happiness on her face? Is she happier than before? Is she?" Yang Cheng was stunned, a little dazed. That's right. Lin Ruashi didn't look like she had become better after leaving him. Mother Wang had also mentioned that she wasn't happy. Could it be? Was he really wrong? Yang Gongming suddenly slammed the table and said with a burning gaze, "Yang Cheng, remember, no matter what method you use, whether it's shamelessly kneeling in front of Ruashi's door and begging her, or going to her company to cry and hug her thigh, you have to pull Ruashi back for me. That's too embarrassing. Hugging her thigh and crying. You just said that you want to give face to the Yang family." Yang Cheng shook his head in disgust. Face? It's only face if your wife is brought back by you. A real man is to think of ways to make his wife happy, and obediently stick to your side. Anything else is not considered face. Even if you really want to divorce her in the future, it has to be because you really don't like her and divorce her, and not because she just randomly left. That's called face. Yang Cheng's mouth twitched. "Old man, you're too ruthless. How could I divorce her? If she's willing to come back to me, I'll be smiling even in my dreams. Useless. No wonder a woman can make you so eccentric." Yang Gongming scolded. "If you dare to find more than 10 women, you must have the ability to tame your wife, or else other women will ride on top of you sooner or later." Yang Cheng pursed his lips and said unhappily, "Don't make me sound like an idiot. I've already made a strong stance with Ruashi. Even if she doesn't want to see me, it's not her business if I want to treat her well. What's the use of that? What's the difference between you and those idiots who can't get the woman they like and can only blindly give gifts? If you were a man from a normal family, I wouldn't say anything, but you're a man of my Yang family, and the family must respect you. Look at your mother. Although Xiuhua dared to leave Pejuan, she never dared to mention divorce, and even more so didn't dare to play tricks in front of this old man, because she knows that as a daughter-in-law of the Yang family, there must be a bottom line. That last Lin Ruashi, she dared to turn around and leave in front of me on New Year's Eve. I'm already giving you face by not sending troops to stop her on the road. Do you really think that my Yang family can come and go as you please? Once you enter the door of the Yang family, you're a member of the Yang family in life, and a ghost of the Yang family in death. Divorce? From the moment she took the Qilin talisman from my hand, there's no way." At this moment, Yang Gongming's expression was a bit fierce and ruthless, and it was impossible to tell that he was the kind old man he usually was. Yang Chun could finally feel the murderous aura of an old marshal up close. If he hadn't grown up in a bloody battlefield, most people would have peed their pants in fear. "Old man, I didn't expect that you're such a male chauvinist and unreasonable." Yang Chun grinned. Yang Gongming retracted his aura and returned to his calm state. He lightly snorted. I'm old, so I want to be more peaceful. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have said these words. Male chauvinist? Unreasonable? It's just the wailing of the weak. In this world, those who have climbed up from a pile of corpses know that no matter what, between men and women, between enemies and friends, it's the fist that's bigger that counts. Yang Chung lowered his head and shook his head with a smile. He then stood up and stretched his body, saying, "All right, old man, it's time for me to go back to Zhonghai. This meal is on you." Yang Gongming lowered his eyebrows and nodded. He waved his hand, indicating that Yang Chung could leave. In the end, he said, "When you have time, ask your mother to bring Lon Lon back to Yanjing for me to take a look. It's not a big deal to miss a few days of kindergarten." With his back facing him, Yang Chung waved his hand, indicating that he understood. His heart was boiling at this moment, and he was eager to find Lin Ruoxi and sort out the entanglement of emotions during this period of time. Chapter 1475. It was almost noon in Zhonghai. The sun shone down on the vibrant metropolis, and the streets were crowded with people. It was a Saturday. Several pedestrian and commercial streets in the city center had been bustling with business opportunities since early in the morning. Music was constantly being played, most of which were new songs released by Lin Hui, who had become an international diva. Although Lin Hui's comeback had been a hot topic, the entertainment industry was entertainment after all. The so-called moral criticism was just a topic of conversation. The people had their own lives to live, so they didn't take it too seriously. Moreover, her voice was much better than those female singers who relied on scandals. She had also won an international reputation, so Lin Hui's popularity continued to rise. The city streets were filled with the sweet aroma of pastry shops. The city's white-collar workers, young students, and the leisurely elderly were all laughing and chatting, as if they were excited to get out of a cold season. This was the most splendid time of the year. Even in the cold steel concrete forest, one could still feel a trace of joy. The Yulei International Tower stood in the center of the city like a giant. Even on a Saturday, a large number of employees were working here. Ever since Yulei became an international conglomerate, it was obvious that they had to expand their staff. After all, they had to deal with more branch businesses, and they were short on manpower. However, due to Yulei's multifaceted business empire, its potential was extraordinary. In addition to the charisma of its new chairman, Lin Ruoxi, many up-and-coming business people were trying their best to get into Yulei. They were trying to learn a little bit, or they might even be able to enter the senior management and have the opportunity to work with Lin Ruoxi. Many male employees were eager to work overtime because the beautiful women in the company were eye-catching. It was much more interesting than staying at home. In the CEO's office on the top floor, a few pots of green plants were waving their charming leaves in front of the wide floor-to-ceiling window. Like many other employees, Lin Ruoxi also worked on a Saturday. She stood in front of the window and looked down at the moving scenery of the city. She was wearing a white floral print short skirt, a black lace vest, and a mustard yellow long suit. The woman was like a beautiful jade sculpture that combined coldness and gentleness, yet complemented each other. She was pure and untainted by the world. Behind Lin Ruoxi, on the other side of the desk, was Zhao Hongyan, dressed in a spring suit. Her hair was tied up in a high bun, and she had a pair of black socks and white legs. She looked like a young married woman. She was holding a folder and quickly reporting some work. "Mr. Lin, the third round of negotiations with the German company Collins has ended. The other company insists on paying 300 million euros in channel fees every year. What do you think? Tell their negotiator to repeat it one last time. 50 million euros, and it will be converted according to the sales performance. If they don't agree, all the contracts with Collins will not be renewed. You don't have to wait for their response. Just contact Hoffman and give them the same conditions." Lin Ruoxi replied instantly. "Yes." Zhao Hongyan quickly noted it down and continued to ask, "Mr. Thompson, the vice president of the Laurent Group in the United States, wants to invite you to attend their cocktail party to discuss the specific investment plan for the West Coast Villa Complex. He said that if you don't meet him personally, he will return to the United States tomorrow night, and he will take it that you are not sincere. Let him be." Let Vice President Chris call their chairman and tell him that there is something wrong with Thompson's attitude. Let him consider changing the vice president. Lin Ruashi said calmly. Zhao Hongyan tried hard to hold back the smile on her face as she responded. After that, Zhao Hongyan closed the folder and bowed slightly. Mr. Lin, the report is over. Is there anything else I need to do? Lin Ruashi was silent for a moment and suddenly said, Today, the weather is good. What? Zhao Hongyan thought she had heard wrong. Lin Ruashi turned around and revealed an almost imperceptible smile, but it disappeared in a flash. Hongyan, have you eaten? Zhao Hongyan hesitated for a moment before she reacted. She shook her head and said with a smile, No, it's only noon. Lin Ruashi nodded and ran her fingers through her hair. Let's go. I'll treat you to lunch. Zhao Hongyan stood there in astonishment. She didn't understand what was wrong with Lin Ruashi. With her workaholic personality, shouldn't she go to the staff cafeteria to have a simple meal or even skip lunch and work until the end of the day? But since her superior had invited her, she didn't dare to refuse. She didn't have the time to give instructions for the following work. She smiled and asked, Okay, what would you like to eat, Mr. Lin? I'll go to the basement to get the car. No need. Lin Ruashi stopped her and said softly, We won't drive. Let's take the bus in front of the company. Zhao Hongyan's mouth was so wide that a pigeon's egg could fit in it. Realizing that she had lost her composure, she quickly covered her mouth and asked embarrassedly, Mr. Lin, are you not feeling well? Or do you have something on your mind? She didn't dare to imagine that Lin Ruashi, who had a net worth of more than $50 billion and was one of the richest women in Huaxia, would actually go out for lunch and take the bus. Lin Ruashi rolled her eyes at her subordinate. What are you thinking about? Just sit. Are you going or not? Yes, of course I'm going. Mr. Lin, please wait a moment. I'll go downstairs after I put down my things. Zhao Hongyan ran like a gust of wind to take the elevator back to the office. A few minutes later, the chairman, Lin Ruashi, and the head of the public relations department, Zhao Hongyan, walked out of the building under the watchful eyes of countless employees. They arrived at a bus stop across the street and boarded a bus to the dining area. This scene made the employees' jaws drop to the ground. They couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. Fortunately, the bus outside of Yulei wasn't very crowded. After Lin Ruashi and Zhao Hongyan got on the bus, they found a seat at the back and sat down. Lin Ruashi deliberately found a seat by the window and insisted that Zhao Hongyan sit next to her. Zhao Hongyan had already been stimulated many times. This time, she didn't care what Lin Ruashi did. In any case, she just needed to cooperate. Women were actually very perceptive. They guessed that their chairman had recalled some past memories and wanted to relive some old dreams. In fact, Zhao Hongyan's guess wasn't wrong. Ever since Ning Guangyao stirred up the emotions buried in her heart last night, Lin Ruashi couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. Her thoughts and strong feelings drowned her. The man's figure lingered in the deepest part of her mind, making her heart in a mess. Sometimes it was sweet, sometimes it was painful. At this moment, Lin Ruashi, who was sitting by the window, stared at the moving scenery outside the window. Her mind seemed to be wandering. She still remembered that night, when the man shamelessly insisted on sitting next to her and smiled wickedly at her. There are empty seats everywhere. Can't you just sit anywhere? Can't you sit a bit more comfortably? Why must you sit next to me? If you don't let me, I'll kiss you. Ew. You're really unreasonable. Why do you have to sit next to me? Aren't there a lot of seats in the car? There are indeed a lot of seats in the car, but you're the only one beside me. The man's voice and smile were still in front of her. Lin Ruashi couldn't help but laugh. She subconsciously reached out and rubbed her fingers. Back then, he had magically taken out a Band-Aid and wrapped it around himself in the car. Lin Ruashi's eyes gradually turned red, and there was a hint of sparkling water in them. Zhao Hongyan's question sounded in her ears. Mr. Lin, where are we going? Lin Ruashi came back to her senses and looked at the scenery around her. She realized that they had already driven a long way and had unknowingly arrived. This is the place. The next stop is here. This was a bustling food street. It couldn't be said to be very high-end, but there were special snacks and restaurants everywhere. There was an endless stream of customers coming and going, and the streets were filled with pedestrians. When Zhao Hongyan followed Lin Ruoxi on the street, she couldn't help but feel that it was more and more strange. Lin Ruoxi's temperament was like a lotus flower that had just emerged from the water. In such a street that was filled with the smell of worldly affairs, she really didn't fit in. Why would she think of coming here? As they walked, Lin Ruoxi stopped in front of a small restaurant with a bit of a fishy smell and said, "This is it, let's go in." Zhao Hongyan smelled a spicy fragrance and looked up. There were only 3 words written on the signboard: crayfish. Zhao Hongyan, who was already a little unable to keep up with the pace, watched as Lin Ruoxi ignored the surprised gazes of the people around her and walked in. She could only bite the bullet and accompany her to sit at a small table by the window. Chapter 1476. The waiter at the crayfish restaurant was stunned for quite a while before he served the menu. That was because Lin Ruoxi's looks and aura were simply too intimidating. It was as though a fairy from heaven had suddenly come to the market to buy groceries. It was simply astounding. Many passers-by couldn't help but slow down when they saw the woman by the window of the crayfish restaurant. Zhao Hongyan was born into an ordinary family, so she wasn't unaccustomed to it. However, she couldn't help but feel a headache when she saw Lin Ruoxi sitting on the greasy stool, so casually with her clothes worth tens of thousands of yuan, stained with oil. Lin Ruoxi didn't find anything wrong with it. She pointed at the items on the menu and said, 2 plates of crayfish, this, and these dishes. Also, a pickled vegetable soup. The waiter quickly went to do as he was told. He didn't forget to turn back to glance at Lin Ruoxi while walking to the kitchen. This woman was simply too beautiful. Even without makeup, she looked prettier than the heavenly queen, Lin Hui. Zhao Hongyan wanted to cry. She said that she was going to eat with her, but she hadn't ordered yet. She didn't say that she wanted to eat crayfish. However, Lin Ruoxi didn't care much about her. After the crayfish was served, she took one out and started to peel it slowly. She peeled it very carefully, trying not to let her fingers touch the meat. Moreover, she wanted the meat to be as intact as possible. Zhao Hongyan wasn't good at this. She didn't eat much after peeling for a long time. She simply ordered a bowl of rice and started eating other dishes. After peeling more than 10 crayfish, Lin Ruoxi suddenly put down the crayfish she was peeling and raised her head slowly. Hongyan, peeling crayfish really doesn't seem easy. Even if I can control my strength, I might not be able to do it quickly. Zhao Hongyan swallowed the rice and smiled. Mr. Lin, why did you suddenly want to eat crayfish? A complicated look appeared in Lin Ruoxi's eyes. After a moment of silence, she smiled like a blooming white orchid. Because there was someone who peeled a whole plate of crayfish for me in the past. It tasted really good. I wanted to try it today, but the lobster I peeled doesn't taste as good as before. Zhao Hongyan froze for a moment and smiled bitterly. She thought that her guess was right. The person who would bring Lin Ruoxi to this kind of place and peel lobsters for her could only be that man. I remember that I called him a fool at that time. Now, it seems that I wasn't wrong. It's so hard to peel them, and he peeled so many of them. Chairman Lin, forgive me for being blunt, but aren't you a fool? Zhao Hongyan sighed. Actually, I don't understand. Even if you have your own difficulties, shouldn't you face them properly? Everyone in the company, and I see you as our idol. You have led us to where we are today with such courage and determination. But why do you have to escape here when it involves your own personal affairs? You dragged me here today. Isn't it because you can't forget Yangcheng? The air seemed to be a little stuffy, and it was hard to breathe. Lin Ruoxi smiled faintly. It's not that simple. Life isn't a business. In a business, even if you fail, suffer losses, or close down, as long as you're still alive, no matter how slim the hope is, you can always make a comeback. So I'm not afraid. But life is different. There are some things that I don't dare to gamble on. Because if I lose, if I fail, it will be devastating. I can't turn back time, and I can't travel to the past. If I lose and fail, it's the end. So, I choose to be afraid. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Zhao Hongyan looked at Lin Ruoxi speechlessly. She used to be envious, and she was envious now. The woman in front of her had beauty, wisdom, and love that she couldn't compare to. But now, she felt that the woman in front of her had more sorrow. Her beauty, wisdom, and love didn't seem to bring her happiness. Sometimes, happiness seemed to be right in front of you, but in fact, it was thousands of miles away. Just as the two women were silent and speechless, a figure silently walked into the lobster restaurant. He walked step by step to the side of their table and stood still. A familiar, yet inconceivable voice rang in the ears of the two women. "Silly girl. Didn't I say that you're a silly girl? Why wouldn't you dare to gamble? Although life might end completely if you lose the gamble. But if you don't gamble from the beginning, doesn't that mean that life has already ended early?" A look of surprise appeared on Lin Ruoshi's mournful face. She then raised her head abruptly and saw Yang Cheng with a familiar smile on his face. "You? How did you?" Lin Ruoshi wasn't the only one. Zhao Hongyan was shocked as well and was a little dumbfounded. Yang Cheng didn't answer immediately. Instead, he picked up a lobster from the plate and reached out to peel it. He said, "I've been watching you since you got on the bus. I wanted to see where you were going. As expected, you came here. My little Ruoshi darling. Although I don't know what you're hiding from me. But if you keep saying that you don't love me, that you don't miss me, that you don't want to be with me, I won't believe it even if you beat me to death." Lin Ruoshi's cheeks instantly glowed. She was tender and alluring. She never thought that Yang Cheng would appear. This time, she didn't know how to continue her act. It was obvious that Yang Cheng had heard their conversation from outside and came in at this time. Yang Cheng's hands were very nimble. After a moment of disdain, he had already peeled off the lobster, leaving only soft meat. "Come, open your mouth." Yang Cheng stuffed the lobster meat next to the woman's pink lips. Lin Ruoshi noticed that the surrounding people were staring at the two of them, revealing ambiguous gazes, while Zhao Hongyan was secretly laughing at her. She couldn't help but feel her ears burn even more. "What are you doing? They're all watching. What's there to be afraid of? It's only right and proper for me to feed my wife. Whoever dares to say anything more, I'll send them flying." Yang Cheng said indifferently. I want to divorce you." Lin Ruoshi tried her best to make herself look colder, but no matter how she looked at it, she looked like a puffy bun face. Other than being cute, she was also delicate. Yang Cheng smiled. "Your current acting is very inaccurate. This is Tsundere, do you understand?" Lin Ruoshi was so anxious that she was about to cry. What should she do now? She actually wasted all her previous efforts just because she came to eat crayfish once. She didn't know that even if she didn't come out of Yulei to eat crayfish, Yang Cheng had already steeled his heart to pester her. He even wanted to hug her thigh and scream. Yang Cheng was secretly happy that she exposed herself like this. It saved him a lot of effort. "Little wife, just eat it. Your husband treats you well." A middle-aged man sitting next to her laughed. "So, it's a quarrel between husband and wife. They quarrel at the head of the bed and reconcile at the end. Don't be angry." Another person came back to his senses and persuaded. Many people started to make jokes out of goodwill. This made Lin Ruoshi's face especially hot, and she didn't know what to do. Yang Cheng sighed and said gently, "All right, darling Ruoshi, I don't care what your reason is. You can keep hiding it from me. I won't force you to tell me. I just want to tell you that I won't let go of your hand again. I don't want to make any selfless choice. I'm selfish to the extreme in my desire to possess you. I don't want to go against my own heart, and I don't want to listen to any of your reasons and excuses because I've already seen your heart." Lin Ruoshi suddenly stood up and slapped the crayfish meat off Yang Cheng's hand. She was so angry that she cried, "What do you know? I said I won't be with you. Don't let me see you ever again." While she was scolding him, Lin Ruoshi's tears kept rolling down like pearls with a broken string. The woman walked around Yang Cheng and quickly ran out of the door under everyone's gaze. Her fine black hair danced in the sunlight. "Young man, what are you waiting for? Chase after your wife." The surrounding people immediately shouted. Yang Cheng didn't need them to say anything. He shot out like an arrow, and in the blink of an eye, he had tightly hugged Lin Ruoshi from behind. "You, let go of me." Lin Ruoshi struggled, and even wanted to open her mouth to bite Yang Cheng's hand. However, she couldn't reach it. Her delicate body twisted, and she didn't care about the plump ball of flesh rubbing against Yang Cheng's arm and squeezing it into all kinds of shapes. Yang Cheng hugged the woman tightly, and her fragrance filled his arms. He opened his mouth and blew hot air on the woman's translucent earlobe and bit that sensitive area. Don't even think about it. I'll never let go of you again. Yang Cheng, can you let go of me? We really can't be together. Lin Ruoshi cried, even more sorrowfully. This warm embrace made her feel uneasy. I want to be with you. I want you to be my wife. Lin Ruoshi, to me, no consequences are scarier than losing you. Lin Ruoshi's soft body trembled and she sobbed. Don't tell me. In order to be with me, you're not afraid of death? Yang Cheng laughed in a low voice beside the woman's ear. The more he laughed, the wilder and wilder he became, causing the passers-by to stop and look at the two of them. They were filled with puzzlement and curiosity. Some people even thought that this man had gone crazy. However, the two of them didn't care about anything around them. They could only hear each other's heavy breathing. Yang Cheng grinned and moved closer to the woman's ear. He said each word sonorously. Lin Ruoshi, you're underestimating me. Yang Cheng, to me, death is never scary. Because even if I die, I, Yang Cheng, have lived a vigorous and fulfilling life. To me, the scariest thing is that when I'm still alive, I've already lost the person I love the most. Because that means that even if my body is still alive, my heart has already turned to ashes. Chapter 1477. When the man's overbearing and straightforward words fell into her ears, Lin Ruoshi only felt that the thorns that had been entangled in her mind were cut into pieces by a sharp knife. This was a kind of catharsis, a kind of confession, a kind of irresistible persistence. What joy is there in life? What bitterness is there in death? Lin Ruoshi suddenly realized that she had been neglecting something. Separation might be able to prevent some painful things from happening, but wasn't separation just the beginning of more painful things? It was as if she had found an excuse to persuade herself. Many days of grievance and bitterness were like a broken dam at this moment, attacking the woman's heart at this moment. Sobbing softly, Lin Ruoshi twisted her body and faced Yang Cheng. The two of them stared at each other. Lin Ruoshi's eyes were still sparkling pearls, and her cheeks were bright red. She looked delicate and lovely, and there was no trace of the cold and elegant demeanor from before. You really don't want to ask why I want to leave you? Lin Ruoshi didn't know how to say it. In fact, she didn't know if she should say it or not. Yang Cheng's hands caressed the woman's delicate cheeks, wiped away a few drops of tears, and said with a clear smile, "Didn't you say it? It's nothing more than that you're afraid of me dying. No matter what the reason is, I believe in you. Whether you say it or not, you have your reasons. The only thing I care about is whether you're by my side and whether you're living a happy life. As for the rest, I'll deal with whatever comes my way. It's not like I haven't walked through the gates of hell before. It's not like I can always live a peaceful life. There are plenty of people who want me dead. If I were to worry about something like this, would I still be able to live my life?" Lin Ruoshi's eyes revealed a bit of resentment. "You always speak so confidently, as if you don't care about anything. You didn't even ask me, and just said that. You're too impulsive. I'm fine." Yang Cheng raised his eyebrows and said proudly, "Listen, your man is a person who decides his life with impulsiveness. Many a time, careful consideration will not lead to a good result. Thinking too much about such things, just leave it to my Ruoshi baby. I'd better live a simple life, just like now." As he spoke, Yang Cheng lowered his head and kissed the pink cherry lips that he had been thinking about day and night. He broke open the white teeth and probed the soft lilac tongue inside. "Oh!" Lin Ruoshi's beautiful eyes widened, and she reached out to pat Yang Cheng's shoulder. But no matter how she leaned back, Yang Cheng stuck to her, constantly using his tongue and lips to invade her red lips. In the heat of passion, Lin Ruoshi's body had already softened, allowing the man to crazily kiss her on the street. This was no longer some feudal era, and it was not rare to see couples kissing on the street. There were also people whistling and clapping at the side. Occasionally, some old people passed by and felt that this scene was offensive, but they still couldn't help but take a few glances, secretly praising that this girl was really beautiful, and this young man got lucky. When Zhao Hongyan came out of the lobster restaurant, she saw Yang Cheng and his wife hugging each other. Later, she didn't know what they said, but they began to kiss passionately. She never thought that Lin Ruoxi would have such a side, but she didn't know why. But she couldn't help but laugh, and a trace of hot tears appeared at the corner of her eyes, tears of joy and envy. Under the sun in the busy city, a man and a woman were immersed in love. After a full 5 minutes, Lin Ruoxi suddenly woke up on the street. She pushed Yang Cheng away in a panic, and her face was red as she scolded, You're crazy. You're being watched by others." Yang Cheng laughed. He didn't care so much. He got his wife back, and his heart was already blooming with joy. He grabbed Lin Ruoxi's hand and ran to the end of the street. "Hey, where are you going?" "Go and tell the little fat girl that Mom wants her again." Lin Ruoxi opened her mouth slightly, and then she realized that since she chose to face the future with Yang Cheng, she could be with her daughter again. She didn't have to sneak behind a crowd to see her. She couldn't help but feel satisfied. Zhao Hongyan, who was behind, was busy paying the money in the restaurant. She was left alone on the street, but she didn't complain. Instead, she was happy for Yang Cheng and his wife. Running out of the food street, Yang Cheng took Lin Ruoxi a few turns and entered an empty alley. He picked up the woman and disappeared from the alley in an instant. In the blink of an eye, Yang Cheng carried Lin Ruoxi to the sky above Yinhua Kindergarten and asked excitedly, "Wife, do you know which class the little fat girl is in? Let's go down and find her." "What are you doing?" "The kindergarten hasn't finished yet. When Lan is out of school, we can pick her up." Lin Ruoxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She punched the man's chest again. When Yang Cheng heard this, a wicked smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He smiled ambiguously and said, "In this case, there is still a lot of time before school ends. Wife, you have been wronged for so many days. You must be lonely at night. I will make it up to you." Without waiting for Lin Ruoxi to object, Yang Cheng had rushed back to the balcony of Lin Ruoxi's room in the western suburbs with the woman in his arms. He threw himself on a sunbathing recliner. It was noon. Under the scorching sun, the passion was like fire. Before they entered the room, Yang Cheng had already taken off his clothes. He also tore off Lin Ruoxi's coat and top and threw them in the corner of the balcony. They kissed each other. Lin Ruoxi's desire was aroused by him. Coupled with the longing and desire in her heart, she was already in a daze. The taste of hormones made her lose herself, and she began to cooperate with the man. Yang Cheng used some strength in his arms. Lin Ruoxi's body lay on his chest obediently. Half of her body was pressed on his body, and the two soft mounds pressed against his naked upper body. Yang Chen's hands first caressed the woman's smooth and supple back, feeling the flawless smoothness. Then his hands circled around and grabbed the two softballs. However, her soft and supple skin was pressed against his hands, making it obvious that he couldn't grab them in one go. Exquisite shapes and deep depressions were squeezed out. The two pink bumps were especially firm under the arousal, creating a mesmerizing feeling in his palms. Yang Cheng opened his mouth and let go of his beloved wife's smooth and fragrant tongue. His lips slid over her chin and passed through the delicate collarbone. His body shrank down and bit a jade bead. He gently licked and rubbed it. Lin Ruoxi's entire body was itchy from his teasing, especially the part that was bitten. It felt like there were thousands of scratches, and the itch went deep into her bones. However, she couldn't control the waves in her heart, no matter how hard she tried. She pressed her upper body down, and the huge pink ball was pressed against the man's face. All of a sudden, Yang Chen's nose was filled with the milky scent of a baby. However, his mouth was too busy. After licking here, he forgot about the other parts. He wanted to take a bite of this tender flesh, but he was afraid that he would hurt his wife. The man's big hands slid into the woman's perky buttocks. Through the elastic lace, he directly grabbed the two plump snow-white petals. Today's Lin Ruoxi was like a blooming flower. The sense of touch and fullness was completely different from before. Suddenly, Yang Cheng felt that his hands were full of softness. It was a mess. It seemed that his whole palm was about to be sunk in. His fingers moved across the deep ravine and fell on the pink peach-colored stream. The water was gurgling and the fragrance was everywhere. Lin Ruashi made a sweet cry in the depths of her throat. Because they were on the balcony, she subconsciously wanted to hold back. She clenched her teeth, but it was slightly trembling. Yang Cheng removed the last layer of restraint from her lower body to the bend of her legs. His body slid down again. This time, his head actually slid between the two pink and white legs of his beloved wife. Yang Cheng didn't hesitate to stick out his tongue and gently moved it up. Like a dragonfly touching the water, he kissed her mouth full of fragrance. It was the unique, decadent fragrance of a woman. It wasn't until Yang Cheng's entire tongue slid into her water curtain cave that Lin Ruashi suddenly realized. She wanted to stop him and say that it was a bit dirty there, so he shouldn't lick it. However, in the next moment, Yang Cheng's tongue rolled up in the tunnel and hit her words back in her stomach. This kind of feeling was too eroding and ecstasy. She really couldn't resist this kind of pleasure. Yang Cheng's tongue was like a restless child playing around in her body. It made her tender flesh tremble, and her whole body felt like she was sitting on a white cloud. As his moist, warm tongue continued to stir, her heart also moved up and down, as if she was sitting on a roller coaster. Lin Ruashi's hand held the top of the recliner, allowing Yang Cheng to use the tip of his tongue to wreak havoc below. Her delicate body that was maturing by the day trembled again and again, causing the recliner to shake. After a violent spasm, Lin Ruashi's body was already limp, and she climbed to the highest point. Yang Cheng hadn't even started yet. He took off his underwear like a gust of wind and rushed into her wonderful artifact without any hesitation like an iron rod. Oh! The woman finally let out a suppressed moan. Although Yang Chen's nimble tongue had made her feel like dying, she still couldn't resist such a ferocious attack. It was as if her soul was about to be poked out. The dark land that was still constantly shrinking and overflowing with spring water was now filled. She wanted Yang Cheng's precious thing to use a little more force and go in a little more. Although she was embarrassed that she actually had such a shameless thought, she couldn't care less. She comforted herself and said, "He's my husband anyway. This is all a wife's duty." Then, she enjoyed the moisture after a long drought with a clear conscience. She put her hands on the top of the recliner, and her plump buttocks were raised high, allowing Yang Cheng to go deep with every thrust. Her slender and smooth thighs were deeply clamped, causing the pink walls inside to bite tightly onto the dragon's horn. Every time the resistance came in and out, it was as if a layer of skin on Yang Cheng's big guy was scraped off. The white flesh rippled, and the water stains flew everywhere. The continuous sound of flesh hitting against flesh became a shameful symphony on the balcony. Yang Cheng was going crazy for this supreme enjoyment. He grabbed the woman's head with one hand, turned her around, and kissed her passionately. He said vaguely, "Baby Ruashi, you're amazing. Every time feels like it's the first time." Lin Ruashi whimpered, and she couldn't say a complete sentence at all. Her snow-white skin was dyed with a layer of rouge, and she was extremely beautiful. After more than an hour, Yang Cheng finally handed over all the savings that he had accumulated over the past few days. A copious hot torrent rushed into the sacred place, where Lin Ruashi was giving birth to a new life, causing her to be greatly stimulated. Her legs straightened, and she didn't know how many times the tide had surged after the lovemaking ended. Yang Cheng carried the woman into the bathroom to take a bath. He washed the woman clean, wrapped her in a bath towel, and returned to the bed. They hugged each other and enjoyed the warmth of reunion. The two of them were quiet, and neither of them said anything until the evening. Lin Ruashi propped herself up and smiled with anticipation. "All right, it's almost time. Go and tell Chinny that we're going to pick up Long Lon today." Chapter 1478. Yang Chen's hand lingered on the woman's chest as he gently caressed it. The smooth, and bouncy feeling was something he couldn't bear apart with. However, Lin Ruashi opened it and said angrily, "Stop touching. You can only think about these things. If you don't get up, I'll be angry. Yang Chung smiled Shan. He hadn't been disciplined by his wife like this for a long time. He felt unexpectedly comfortable. Could it be that he was a little masochistic? After putting on their clothes, the two went downstairs together. When they reached the hall, Yang Chung remembered that he didn't see Mother Wang. He couldn't help but ask, "Wife, why isn't Mother Wang here? Shouldn't she be preparing dinner?" Mother Wang said last night that she would take her precious daughter back to her hometown early in the morning. She might come back late at night or tomorrow. Lin Ruoshi remembered that Mother Wang had mentioned it in the morning. Yang Chung suddenly understood and felt a little ashamed. It seemed that he didn't take care of the women and the women's families enough. For example, when Lu Qingshan and his wife were frightened last time, he didn't go and take a good look at them. It was indeed a bit like being an ingrate after deceiving their daughter. Since it was quieter recently, should he take the time to visit his parents-in-law? Yang Chung pondered. When they left the door, the two walked to Mo Qianyi's residence. Lin Ruoshi naturally held Yang Cheng's hand and said faintly, "Hubby, do you really not want to ask why I did that a while ago?" Yang Chung stopped in his tracks and turned to look at her with a somewhat stupefied expression. Lin Ruoshi thought that something had happened and asked, "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" "No, it's nothing. It's just that when I hear you call me hubby again, why do I feel like I'm dreaming? It's unbelievable." Yang Chung smiled with a complicated expression and sighed. How could Lin Ruoshi not understand a man's feelings at the moment? She also felt like she was in a dream, but the person in front of her and the clear feelings in his heart told her that everything was actually reasonable. They never really wanted to leave each other. When they came back together again, there would only be thousands of thoughts. How could they be estranged? Just think of it as the most serious quarrel since we got married. Don't think too much about it. Lin Ruoshi said with a faint smile. Yang Chun chuckled and said, "Then Babe Ruoshi, call me that a few more times. I like it when you call me hubby. It'd be best if it's coquettish, just like how you sounded when you were lying on the chair earlier." Lin Ruoshi's cheeks were red. She pinched Yang Chin's waist and glared at him. "If you mention this again, don't ever touch me again." Yang Chung immediately surrendered and agreed obediently. After a few jokes, in the end, Yang Chung did not ask Lin Ruoshi why she wanted a divorce. Lin Ruoshi knew in her heart that the man did not want her to mention it and remember it, so he played it down. She sighed in her heart. Forget it, since she could not choose to avoid it. Then she would face the unknown with the man. When she entered the living room of Mo Qianyi's house, the kitchen was filled with the strong smell of food. The woman was wearing an apron and cooking something. For the past 2 days, Guishuahua had gone to the military to accompany Yang Pajuan and did not stay in the courtyard in the western suburbs. Only Mo Qianyi and Min Wan were left at home to take care of Lanlan. Hearing the movement at the door, Mo Qianyi turned around. As soon as she saw Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi walking in arm, talking and laughing, a trace of astonishment flashed in Mo Qianyi's eyes, but then she suddenly understood something, and her beautiful eyes released a trace of joy. "Ruoshi? You guys?" Mo Qianyi pointed at the two of them expectantly, a little afraid to speak. Lin Ruoshi's eyes flickered when she saw Mo Qianyi. There were thousands of thoughts in her mind, and she was a little embarrassed. Back then, in order to fall out with Yang Chung, she even fired Mo Qianyi and Lu Mingyu. In fact, she felt guilty. At this moment, she could see the joy in Mo Qianyi's eyes. Mo Qianyi did not hate her. Instead, she thought that she and her husband had reconciled, and she was happy for this. From the perspective of love and marriage, she hated Mo Qianyi. Even though she did not fulfill her duties as a wife, and said that they would not interfere in each other's private lives first, she still felt that Mo Qianyi's interference was a betrayal to a certain extent. But from the perspective of a sisterly friendship, and from the perspective of a working partner, she could not hate Mo Qianyi. This woman was almost perfect except for the fact that she fell in love with the same man as her. This kind of entanglement was also the same for the Kai sisters, Hui Lin, and other women. Other than the fact that they had an unbreakable relationship with Yang Chun, Lin Ruoshi admired these women from the bottom of her heart. That was why she maintained a subtle relationship with them. She didn't interfere too forcefully, nor did she have the intention to yield to them. Of course, this was closely related to Yang Cheng's unyielding stance of not giving up on these women. Chinny, we have reconciled. I want to apologize for what happened in the company. Lin Ruashi said calmly. Chinny's eyes were filled with tears. She shook her head happily. It's nothing. Actually, we all know that you must have your reasons for doing what you did. After I calmed down, I thought about it and felt that you are not that kind of person. It's great that you changed your mind. Lan Lan will definitely be very happy. After all, you're her mother. Yang Cheng walked forward and stretched out a finger to wipe the tears from the corner of Chinny's eyes. He smiled and said, All right, little Qian, don't cry if you're happy. I feel sorry for you. Don't be like this. Chinny pulled Yang Cheng's hand away. She blushed and looked at Lin Ruashi awkwardly. Lin Ruashi pretended not to see it. If she was really jealous of such a small matter, then she could be immersed in a vinegar jar all year round. She said lightly, Chinny, let's talk about the details later. I'll go pick up Lan Lan first. Then she turned and walked out. Yang Cheng hurriedly followed her. He did not forget to look back at Chinny and winked at her with a smug expression. Chinny rolled her eyes. She felt helpless and amused by this man's childish behavior. However, this kind of Yang Cheng was truly happy. Chinny was also satisfied that the man she liked was like this. In less than an hour, the couple picked up the chubby little girl from kindergarten. The chubby little girl, who was lying in Lin Ruashi's arms, blushed and tearful. Obviously, she cried a lot. From time to time, she even asked Lin Ruashi for a kiss. Her pitiful look made people feel sorry for her. Yang Cheng followed behind the mother and daughter. He felt very unbalanced. I'm not mean to this little girl. Why doesn't she cry like this every time I don't see her for a long time? As a father, Yang Cheng was very jealous. After all, he was the real biological father. Lin Ruashi couldn't care less about her husband's jealousy at this moment. She missed her daughter too much. When she got home, she sat on the sofa, hugged Lan Lan, and asked all kinds of questions. She wanted to know what Lan Lan ate and did these days. It was not her style at all. Touching her daughter's chubby face, Lin Ruashi said apologetically, Lan Lan, it's all Mom's fault. Look at you, you've lost so much weight. Yang Cheng, who was watching the news, rolled his eyes and whispered, how did you see that? You've gained weight again. Lin Ruashi glared at him coldly. Yang Cheng immediately lost his temper. He shrunk his head and pretended not to hear it. The chubby little girl was very happy. She ran up and down, taking out the paintings she drew and the calligraphy she wrote, wanting to get her mother's praise. After being praised, she didn't forget to ask Lin Ruashi pitifully, Mom won't leave, right? Mom won't abandon Lan Lan, right? These words made Lin Ruashi cry nonstop. Yang Cheng felt his scalp tingle. He was determined to have a son in the future. His daughter was really troublesome. When she was annoyed, he could beat her up. After Chinny and Minwan had prepared a sumptuous dinner, the whole family sat down and chatted happily as they enjoyed the meal. Lan Lan loved to show off and sang a new song. She used a big drumstick as a microphone, amusing Lin Ruashi and Chinny. Just as they were enjoying themselves, Yang Cheng, who was engrossed in eating braised pig trotters, suddenly frowned and looked outside the door. Chinny and Lin Ruashi also noticed the abnormality. There were footsteps running over from outside. Bang, bang, bang. The door was knocked hurriedly. Yang Cheng used his divine sense to check, and his face changed drastically. He rushed over to open the door. The situation in front of him made his face extremely gloomy. Mother Wang, what happened to you? Chapter 1479. Yang Cheng supported Mother Wang because Mother Wang looked like she could collapse at any time. Her face was pale, her hair was messy, and she was panting heavily. One side of her forehead was scratched and bloody, and there was even blood at the corner of her mouth. Seeing Yang Cheng, Mother Wang cried bitterly, Son-in-law, quickly go and save my Qing. You must save my Qing. Woo-woo. Qinga. Yang Cheng's gaze sharpened. He couldn't care too much and said, Mother Wang, don't say any more. Quickly come in. I'll help you take a look at your injuries. Yang Cheng probed with his divine sense and discovered that Mother Wang had suffered internal injuries from some kind of impact. Although it wasn't fatal, it was probably enough to make her feel like her bones were falling apart. Lin Ruoshi, Imo Chinni, and the others also rushed to the door and waited for Yang Cheng to help Mother Wang into the house. They kept asking what was going on. Mother Wang was like a family they had known since they were young. So how could they not be anxious? Although Lan Lan was still young, she knew that something had happened to Grandmother Wang. After biting off the rest of the chicken leg, she ran to the sofa and looked at it seriously. Yang Cheng was fully focused and transferred a wave of heaven and earth energy into Mother Wang's body. Fortunately, it was purely repairing her tissues and restoring her vitality. Very soon, Mother Wang became spirited. Mother Wang still seemed to have a headache, but she couldn't care less. She grabbed Yang Cheng's hand and said, "Son-in-law, Qing'er has been captured by the people from the hidden family. Quickly go and save her. Those people seem to want to capture her and bring her back to punish her. I'm worried that something will happen to her." Mother Wang sobbed, her heart burning with anxiety. She didn't have much cultivation, so she was thrown by Luo Hang and crashed into the wall. She was lucky that she didn't die. She was unconscious for the entire day, and when she woke up, she had a splitting headache. It was already dark outside. It took her a while to figure out what had happened due to the mild concussion. When she finally understood, the first thing she thought of was to look for Yang Cheng. When she rushed here, Yang Cheng and the others were having dinner. Hearing that Xiao Qiqing was captured by the Luo family, Yang Cheng's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, "What kind of people are they? Did they say where they will be taken?" Mother Wang tried hard to recall and said, "I remember there was the little girl I met in the shoe shop last time. I think she was with that group of people. The person who knocked me out was a young man with shoulder-length hair and a very bewitching look, and there was an old man following behind him. I don't know what happened after I fainted, and I don't know where they went." Mother Wang sobbed, feeling that her daughter was in danger. She didn't dare to think about it. Yang Cheng was trembling with anger. Imo Chinni also thought of something and exclaimed, "Could it be that Luo Xiao from last time? Could it be that she told her brother about Jiqing's whereabouts? Do you even need to ask? How could there be such a coincidence? I should have killed her last time. If Qing'er didn't persuade me, I wouldn't be so soft-hearted. I wouldn't have harmed Qing." Yang Cheng clenched his fists in regret, anger rushing to his head. Suddenly getting up, Yang Cheng said in a low voice, "Mother Wang, don't worry. I will definitely find Qing'er and bring her back safely. Otherwise, I won't have the face to see you again." At this moment, Yang Cheng's anger was at its peak. He could imagine how the Luo family would torture Xiao Qiqing. Before Xiao Qiqing escaped, she had already suffered inhumane torture. She was used as a test subject for medicinal pills and was tortured day and night by the poison. Now that she had been captured as a traitor, it would be impossible to simply kill Xiao Qiqing. After all, a woman's 90 meridians were very rare. Otherwise, if she was killed here, it would be more likely that they wanted to torture her. Yang Cheng didn't dare to think too much about it. The more he thought about it, the more his heart twisted, as if it was about to explode. In his mind, the image of Xiao Qiqing acting as if she didn't care about anything and asking him to deliver medicinal pills to other women appeared. His heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. He owed this beauty too much. If anything bad happened to her, he would be trapped in the abyss of pain and regret for the rest of his life. "Ruoshi, Chinni, I'll go get Qing'er back. You guys inform the others," Yang Cheng said and prepared to leave. He didn't want to wait a moment longer. But Lin Ruoshi grabbed the man and scolded him coldly. "What are you doing? You think you can get Jiqing back just because you ran out in a hurry?" Yang Chun stopped moving and turned around in shock. His mind was a mess, and he was furious. He didn't know what the woman meant by that. Lin Ruoshi said calmly, "First, you can't even confirm if Jiqing has been brought back to the illusion. Even if she has, do you know where she will be? In the Xiao family? Or directly to the Luo family? I remember Jiqing said that the illusion is vast and boundless. It's not just the size of Kiki Shili. Do you want to be like a headless fly? If I find her, I'll hold her hostage and interrogate her. There are bound to be cultivators inside who know the location of the hidden families. Yang Chung said. Lin Ruoshi snorted. Even if you find her, that is the base camp of the hidden families. Are you so confident that you can bring Jiqing out unharmed? Even if most of them are no match for you, don't tell me they don't have any real masters. What if they are angered by you and take Jiqing as a hostage, or even harm her? What's the point of doing this? Yang Cheng's body trembled. His heart shivered. The woman's words were like a bucket of ice water poured over his head. That's right. He had just met a mysterious master at number one's place this morning. Could it be that only number one has such a master? He was like a frog at the bottom of a well. He always thought that he could do whatever he wanted because of his cultivation. But in reality, some masters just didn't want to face him. Were the people of the hidden families all inferior to him? That might not be the case. Thinking back to the masked man in Australia, he didn't even use his full strength. He was definitely a master not to be underestimated. Then there was the mysterious man who controlled the Tang sect members in the past. His cultivation was also unfathomable. Seeing that Yang Chung had calmed down, Lin Ruoshi breathed a sigh of relief. She grabbed the man's hand and said, "Hubby, I know you're anxious. We're also worried about Jiqing. But this matter, we have to be clever, not forceful. If you rush and recklessly and look for Jiqing everywhere, it will only backfire and alert the enemy. When the time comes, many masters will surround you. Not only will you not be able to save Jiqing, you'll also lose yourself. Have you forgotten that so many people are watching your cultivation? They can't do anything to you overseas or in the secular world, but once you're in the dreamland, it's different. That's their world. You can only secretly find Jiqing and think of a way to save her. Otherwise, you'll only hurt her." Yang Chung let out a long sigh and said, "I was too impulsive. Ruoshi, you're right. I have to think of a way to sneak in first. I know you'll definitely go. I won't stop you. Jiqing is Mother Wang's daughter. She must be saved, but you must be careful. You're our pillar, do you understand?" Lin Ruoshi's eyes were red. Yang Chung nodded. After being reminded by Lin Ruoshi, he did have a vague plan. He had the yellow token that he obtained from killing Taoist Huang Yin. This token was Homing's token. Firstly, it could help him find the entrance to the formation. Secondly, when he entered or left the formation, he would be recognized as someone in the illusion and not as an intruder. More importantly, he now had the blindfold leaf in his hand. He could disguise himself as someone else and control his cultivation. Unless he was in the Shangqing Heavenly Thunder trial, he would not be able to detect it. Unless his acting was too bad. With these two things, it seemed like he could do something. Although it would take a lot more effort than directly looking for her, it was better than harming Xiao Qiqing. He believed that since they did not kill Xiao Qiqing, they would not take the woman's life. It would not be too late to avenge her after he rescued her. After careful consideration, Yang Chang felt that it was not safe for the women to stay in Huaxia. If something happened to him in the illusion, he would not be able to take care of his family. Wouldn't he be tied down on both sides? "Ruoshi, although I know it is a little inconvenient for you, after I go to the illusion, you must bring Lan Lan, Qianni, and Mother Wang to the Forgotten Kingdom immediately. That place is very close to the Stern siblings and Raphael. If there are cultivators who want to kill you, they will definitely not sit back and do nothing. Moreover, Jane, Qiangwei, and Little Ning all have good combat power. It should be safe," Yang Chang said. When Lan Lan heard this, she was unhappy and pouted. "No, Lan Lan wants to play with kindergartners." "Shut up. Listen to what Daddy says. This is not a discussion with you now. This is an order." Yang Chung did not let the child continue and reprimanded her sternly. The chubby little girl pouted and hugged Lin Ruoshi's thigh. She carefully hid and did not dare to face Yang Chung. Her face was full of grievances, but she did not dare to make a sound. After all, she still had fear of her father, Yang Chung, deep in her heart. "I know, husband, be careful." Lin Ruashi touched the child's head and did not speak for long. It was one thing to spoil the child. When it came to serious matters, she was very clear about which was more important. Mo Chinny on the side also had a face full of worry, but she did not say much. Both her hands were clenched and trembling. To go to the Mediterranean, Lin Ruashi could directly book a private plane with a phone call and leave with Mother Wang and Long. There was no need for Yang Cheng to do much. The uniqueness of a strong woman was reflected at this time. As for the matter of Yulei Group, Lin Ruashi could use the network office management, and no one in the company dared to stop her from going to work. After Yang Cheng instructed Old Ron and other cadres on some matters, he told Hanya and Li Jingjing about the situation. Li Jingjing was in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Beijing, and presumably no one dared to do anything under the eyes of number one, so it was safe. Chapter 1480. Thinking of number one, Yang Cheng suddenly had an idea. He had given the country so many benefits. Shouldn't number one help him too? If he could step in and ask the expert behind him to help, maybe the hidden aristocratic families would give him face. Thinking of this, Yang Cheng hurriedly called his old man at home. He didn't have number one's contact number. Yang Gongming was about to go to bed when he heard the situation over the phone. He couldn't help but say in a serious tone, "That girl named Xiao Qi-Ching, you really have to save her. Aren't you talking nonsense, old man? If you can't even protect your own woman, I'll just cut her off myself." Yang Cheng already felt that he had lost face. Although he couldn't have prevented Xiao Qi-Ching from being taken away, it was still a reflection of his own incompetence. Do you know how dangerous it is to go there like this? No matter how dangerous it is, it's not as dangerous as the situation my woman is in right now. Are you going to call me or not? Yang Cheng asked without hesitation. Yang Gongming didn't know what to think, but he sighed in a low voice. What a brat who's not afraid of anything. This matter, I can't help you, and I'm afraid number one won't help you either. At most, he could just ignore it and not ask. Yang Cheng was unhappy. Old man, just call me. At worst, I'll pay him to help. Number one wants money, but you have no choice but to give it to him. He's taking money from you, not doing business with you. Don't get it wrong, kid. Yang Gongming lectured, but he still couldn't persuade Yang Cheng, so he transferred him to number one. After hearing what Yang Cheng said, number one only said lightly, "You going to the illusion to save your woman has nothing to do with the country's interests. I'm a public servant of the people, not someone who specializes in settling things for certain people. Moreover, I don't have the ability to help you, young man. You're on your own." After that, number one hung up the phone. Yang Cheng was so angry that he almost crushed his teeth. This old man was full of nonsense, always talking about serving the people and putting the country first. To put it bluntly, when Yang Cheng wanted him to help the world, he only thought of Yang Cheng. But when Yang Cheng needed help in times of need, he turned his back on him. Fortunately, Yang Cheng didn't have much hope. Otherwise, he would really have a heart attack. After the last round of preparation, he did not forget to return the Fengxiang bracelet to Lin Ruashi to strengthen the woman's safety. He also reminded Lan Lan not to be lazy in her cultivation. Only then did Yang Cheng rush to Kiki Shili, which was south of Kunlun Mountain. Before arriving at Kukushili, Yang Cheng had adjusted his cultivation to the early stage of soul formation, just enough to enter the illusion. Passing through the continuous snow-capped mountains, Yang Cheng looked around, only to see a barren plateau. Other than some Tibetan antelopes eating in the distance, there were no signs of human habitation. Of course, this was just an illusion. The illusion was an independent world, and ordinary people couldn't detect its existence. Yang Cheng scanned the area with his divine sense and felt that the space in front of him was unusual. It was as if there was an invisible membrane. He took out the yellow token and transferred a wave of true core strength into it. After a few complicated yellow inscriptions flashed on the token, a yellow light shone into the void in front of him. Immediately after, a magical scene appeared. In the sky, there seemed to be a huge circular projection screen. In it, there was a snow-capped mountain range surrounded by fog, like a fairyland. It really was another world. Yang Cheng looked at the Kunlun mountain behind him, and then looked at the mountain range in front of him that seemed to be in the sky. This was definitely a mountain range that couldn't exist on the map. A trace of determination flashed in Yang Cheng's eyes, and he rushed in. After entering the illusion, the light screen door behind Yang Cheng closed immediately. Because there was a yellow token to open the formation, it didn't cause the slightest ripple in the formation. He was in the sky above the snow-capped mountains. The scenery was magnificent. Pieces of ice and snow fluttered in the air like crystal particles, and the chill invaded his heart and spleen. Yang Cheng felt that the concentration of spiritual qi in this world was dozens or even hundreds of times higher than that in the secular world. It was definitely twice the result with half the effort when practicing. Of course, although the concentration of spiritual qi was good, the key was the ability to absorb and transform spiritual qi. It was like having a lot of ammunition, but not a good gun, and it wouldn't produce any power. After releasing his divine sense to explore in all directions, Yang Cheng found that there were snow-capped mountains in a radius of hundreds of miles, and he didn't know which way to go. In desperation, Yang Cheng could only choose the west side at random and fly at a steady pace, hoping to meet someone early so that he could ask where he was. The vastness of the illusion was far beyond Yang Cheng's imagination. After nearly 10 minutes, Yang Cheng found that there were still snow-capped mountains shrouded in white mist below. Just as Yang Cheng was considering whether to change directions, the true essence pressure of two cultivators suddenly appeared diagonally behind him. Yang Cheng's divine sense spread over a large range. Before the other party could find Yang Cheng had already determined that they were two cultivators at the early stage fire leaving stage and the mid-stage soul formation stage. Yang Cheng activated the A-leaf obscuring eyes and changed his figure and appearance. He changed into a green-gray ancient costume that he had prepared earlier and turned into a handsome and somewhat elegant man with long hair. When the two cultivators, a man and a woman, appeared in Yang Cheng's vision, Yang Cheng had already changed beyond recognition and was looking at them with a smile. This man looked to be in his 20s, but of course he might not really be in his 20s. He was carrying a flying sword on his back, and he was tall and quite heroic. The woman also carried a flying sword on her back. She looked very sweet and a little younger. Her eyes were bright, and her lips were red. Her hair was tied up in a bun, and she wore a red dress with a fluttering skirt like a peach blossom. Seeing Yang Cheng standing there and greeting them in midair, the man and woman knew that he must be waiting for them, so they floated in front of Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng was now at the early stage soul formation stage. In the eyes of this man and woman, he was not lethal at all, and he seemed like a very easygoing man. "Fellow cultivator, why are you standing here?" The man was more amiable, which was not quite in line with his cool appearance. Yang Cheng revealed an embarrassed expression and pretended to cup his hands and said, "You too. I have just entered the illusion not long ago and am not familiar with it. I want to inquire about the situation of the illusion." As Yang Cheng spoke, he watched the two's expression change. If they doubted his identity, then he might have said the wrong thing. That was very dangerous because they were likely to tell some of his enemies about him. So, as long as they suspected him, he would have to kill them. Although this was a bit unreasonable, Yang Cheng was not a good person. To put it bluntly, he was simply a heinous person. At this moment, for his and Xiao Qiqing's safety, what did it matter if some people died? Fortunately, the man and woman did not look suspicious and revealed a look of realization. "You are a newly recruited yellow rank cultivator by the Hongmeng messenger, right? Hee, so stupid. Since you don't know the terrain of the illusion, then let the people in Hongmeng take you around. If you ran out alone and entered some of the dangerous areas of the illusion, you might not be able to return." The woman in the red dress at the side laughed. Yang Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. These two were not bad. They even helped him create an identity. So he quickly nodded and said, "Mrs. Wright, but I've never been very good at dealing with people, so I didn't think that much." The man said, "Okay, how should I address you? Fellow cultivator?" "Xiaochun." Yang Cheng had already thought of a fake name. In order to save Xiao Qiqing, he simply used the surname Xiao. I am Zhao family Zhao Muyang. This is my sister Zhao Ting. Nice to meet you. Zhao Muyang cupped his hands and said. In the illusion, the ancient greetings were often used. This was also what Xiao Qiqing had mentioned to Yang Cheng before, so it was not strange. Yang Cheng immediately returned the greeting and asked curiously, Brother Zhao, may I ask where this place is? I heard that the illusion has the Luo family, Xiao family, and Ning family, the three great hidden families. I wonder if I could go to those families to gain some experience? Zhao Ting chuckled and said, What a bold newcomer. Don't you know that the relationship between Hongming and the three great families is not good? Your cultivation is not high, but your guts are not small. I really don't know. I just want to know more. Yang Cheng said with a smile. Zhao Miyang signaled his sister not to interrupt and explained, This is the Feishua mountain range in the north of the illusion. It has a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles and is covered in ice and snow all year round. Hongmeng's All Heavens Island is in the center of the illusion. The Xiao family is in the northwest of Hongmeng. The Luo family is in the northeast, and the Feishua mountain range is in the middle. The Ning family is in the south, close to the Great Desolate Ridge in the east, very far from here. Chapter 1481. Yang Cheng memorized these locations and thought about whether he should go to the Xiao clan or the Luo clan. He didn't know what the hidden clans looked like and what kind of people they had. If Xiao Qiqing was brought back to the dreamland, she might be in the Xiao clan or the Luo clan. How should he find out? If he searched rashly and met someone with high cultivation, it would be hard for him to leave with Xiao Qiqing safely. Brother Xiao, if there's nothing else, we will take our leave, Zhao Miyang said as if he had something urgent to do. Yang Cheng thought about the direction they went and asked, May I know where Brother Zhao is going? May I go with you? Zhao Miyang didn't suspect anything. My sister and I are going to the Xiao clan to settle some matters. Yang Cheng thought to himself, As expected, I have a tour guide now. So he said, Since you're going to the Xiao clan, can you bring me along? The Zhao siblings looked at each other in surprise. They all said that Hongmeng and the hidden clans didn't have a good relationship. Why did this guy still want to go? This, Zhao Muyang said awkwardly. Our Zhao clan has been a vassal of the Xiao clan since ancient times, so it's convenient for us to go. But brother, Xiao doesn't have a reason to go. If we bring you along, you will definitely be discovered by the experts of the Xiao clan. By then, it's inconvenient for you to explain since you're from Hongmeng. Yang Cheng waved his hand and smiled. Brother Zhao, I see that you're being frank. I might as well tell you the truth. I really don't like staying in Hongmeng. I've long heard that the hidden clans have better training resources, so I want a great. You want to join the hidden clans behind Hongmeng's back? Zhao Ting exclaimed. I said you're bold just now. Now it seems that you don't want your life. With your cultivation, let's not talk about whether the Xiao clan wants you or not. Do you know that if you're discovered by Hongmeng, you might be seen as a traitor by the Hongmeng people? It wouldn't be surprising if they killed you right in front of you. Yang Cheng smiled indifferently and said, Cultivation is to defy the heavens and change one's fate. If we don't take risks, how can we have great fortuitous encounters? My surname is also Xiao, so it would be easier for me to join the Xiao clan. A strange look flashed in Zhao Muyang's eyes. After thinking for a while, he said, If Brother Xiao insists on this, it is not impossible. Big brother, you're crazy. He is only at the early stage of soul formation, and he is not familiar with illusions. If he betrays Hongmeng, it will be too late for regrets. Zhao Ting looked at her brother in surprise. Zhao Miyang nodded his head to indicate that he understood. He said calmly, Younger sister, I naturally know about the various vital points. However, since Brother Xiao has such intentions, and we happen to be lacking help on this trip, isn't bringing him along a win-win situation? Zhao Ting was stunned. She thought of something and calmed down, but there was a struggle in her eyes. Yang Cheng wondered if there was something fishy going on between the siblings. However, Zhao Miyang did not seem like a sinister and cunning person. This was the feeling that Yang Cheng had after reading countless people. Actually, many of the people in the illusions relied on the growth of age to have extraordinary experience. Most of the cultivators of the younger generation were not as scheming as the people of the secular world. Brother Xiao, we can bring you along. In fact, if you follow us to the Xiao clan and join the Xiao clan, we siblings will really need your help, Zhao Muyang said. What help? Yang Cheng asked. Zhao Muyang sighed. There was some sadness in his eyes as he told the cause and effect of the matter. As it turned out, although the Zhao clan had a long history as a vassal clan of the Xiao clan, it had become one of the weakest among the vassal clans with the decline of their talents. And the only cultivator of the 6 Frost Water Tribulation in the Zhao clan was the grandfather of the Zhao siblings, Zhao Liangyu, who was at the late stages of the Kuei water stage. However, because Zhao Liangyu was too old, when he broke through to the Kuei water stage, he was already in his twilight years. These few years, he often went into seclusion. Although he worked hard to enter the late stages of the Kuei water stage, he still could not break through to the dark water stage. If this continued, he was afraid that his lifespan would be exhausted in less than 3 years. Unless he broke through to the dark water stage within 3 years, then he could extend his lifespan by another 100 years or so. In desperation, the Zhao clan could only think of a way to beg the Xiao clan to see if they could get some high-grade or even middle-grade panaceas from the Xiao clan. This way, they might be able to help Zhao Liangyu enter the dark water stage. Although the Zhao clan was a vassal clan, panacea's resources were still very scarce in the illusions, not to mention high-grade and middle-grade panaceas that were used to help people in the tribulation stage. That was not enough for the people of the main clan. Therefore, the Zhao siblings went to the Xiao clan to beg this time because they had nowhere else to go. They clearly knew that the chances were not big, but they still wanted to try. After Yang Cheng heard this, he could not help but feel that these people were really pitiful. In his space ring, not to mention high-grade panaceas, there were even many top-grade panaceas, but these people actually humbly begged their master for a high-grade, or even a few middle-grade panaceas. Rather than saying that they were some vassal clan, it was better to say that they were the servants of the Xiao clan. They did not care much about their lives and living conditions at all. Of course, this was also related to the decline of the Zhao clan. If the Zhao clan was as strong as the trees in the forest, then the Xiao clan would definitely try their best to build a good relationship with them to consolidate the Xiao clan's position in the tripod. Although he felt that they were pitiful, Yang Cheng was not stupid enough to give them the panaceas. He asked, "Brother Zhao," after saying all this, "I still don't know what I can help with." Zhao Muyang gritted his teeth, bowed his head, and cupped his hands. "Brother Xiao, us siblings would like to act as refers and send you to the Xiao clan." Refers? Yang Cheng narrowed his eyes and figured out what the situation was. Since the hidden clans were not on good terms with Hongmeng, it was natural for them to poach cultivators from Hongmeng to join them. If the Zhao siblings became the refers and sent him to the Xiao clan, it would be equivalent to helping the Xiao clan pull a cultivator into their camp. It would more or less increase their bargaining chips to ask for panaceas. Yang Cheng gladly said, "Why not? It was Brother Zhao and Sister Zhao who brought me there in the first place. It's natural for me to ask Brother Zhao for help." Zhao Muyang and Zhao Ting's faces lit up, and they looked at Yang Cheng with gratitude. "You're not a bad person. I hope you can live longer in the illusion realm in the future. I find you quite pleasing to the eye. We can be friends," Zhao Ting said with a sweet smile. Yang Cheng looked at this pair of siblings and felt quite relaxed. He did not expect that he would meet 2 good people right after entering the illusion realm. It seemed that not all cultivators were chasing after benefits and deceiving each other. At least the Zhao siblings were willing to tell him the inside story and did not secretly use him. Just based on this point, Yang Cheng felt that if there was a chance in the future, he would give them a few panaceas. Good people should be rewarded. After the agreement, Yang Cheng followed the siblings westward. Along the way, Yang Cheng learned a lot about the 3 big hidden clans and the situation in Hongmeng. Unknowingly, the 3 of them started to descend. Below them was no longer Feishua mountain range. Instead, there were several crisscrossing, winding, and surging rivers. Along the river was a primeval forest formed by towering ancient trees that stretched as far as the eye could see. Many trees that were already extinct in the secular world could be seen here. In the middle of the dark and light green forest, there was a large area of antique ancient buildings with dragons and phoenixes carved on them. It was very eye-catching. Yang Cheng could not help but exclaim. This area was probably the size of a dozen forbidden palaces. The houses were very far from each other, and almost all of them were made of wood. However, some of them looked old, and some of them were more similar to the style of the Republic of China. In the middle of these pavilions and ancestral temples, there was a tower that was more than 100 stories tall. It was also the only building made of stone. The tower was surrounded by purplish-red and golden-yellow ruins. They were probably the defensive formations of the tower. Zhao Muyang gave a simple introduction. Brother Xiao, this is the main residence of the Xiao family. The three big hidden clans each have many residences that are slightly further away from the main family, but most of the people live and cultivate in the main family. The Azure Emperor Pagoda in the center is the place where the Xiao family keeps their ancient books and refines elixirs. It is an important place for the family. Without the permission of the family head, no one can go near it. A place where they keep their ancient books and elixirs? Yang Cheng muttered in his heart. That was a good place. He really wanted to go in and take everything inside. The Zhao siblings did not know that this early soul formation rookie actually had such a bold idea. They were carefully thinking about how to speak to the Xiao family. Yang Cheng hesitated for a while. He did not spread out his divine sense to search the Xiao family for Siyao Qiqing. That would easily expose himself. Therefore, he followed the Zhao siblings to the vast training field outside, the main hall of the Xiao family. The Xiao family occupied a large area. There were many direct descendants and collateral descendants in the family, including many guests and servants. Taking a closer look, there were many people going in and out of the buildings around the training field. However, no one especially looked over, as if they were used to people visiting. Chapter 1482. After standing on the training field for a while, an old man with a goatee, wearing a green robe, slanted eyes, and wearing a goatee walked up to the three of them with light footsteps from the back of the main hall. He glanced at the Zhao siblings, then looked suspiciously at Yang Cheng. The old man put his hands behind his back and asked arrogantly, Zhao Muyang, Zhao Ting, what are you two doing here? Butler Xiao, we're here to ask for a pill for grandfather. Grandfather's life is about to end, and we hope to get the help of a pill to raise his cultivation to the dark water stage, Zhao Muyang said respectfully. Yang Cheng stood at the back silently. He already knew that the Xiao family's butler was called Xiao Gun, a cultivator at the middle stage of the Kuei water stage. He was from a branch of the Xiao family and was favored by the family master, Xiao Minyu. Oh, ask for a pill? Xiao Gu Yuan smiled disdainfully. So Zhao Yangyu isn't dead yet? With his comprehension, he's already very lucky to reach the end stage of the Kuei water stage. There's not much use for a pill, it's just a waste. The Zhao siblings' faces suddenly changed. They were as pale as paper, but they didn't dare to say anything. They lowered their heads, afraid that Xiao Guiyuan would see the anger on their faces. After Zhao Muyang endured it, he raised his head and forced a smile. Butler, Brother Xiao Chun came with us on this trip. He's a good friend that I know who just entered Hongming. I recommend him to join the Xiao family. Although Yang Cheng hated this Xiao Guiyuan, he still played along and bowed with a smile. I'm Xiao Chun. After being recommended by Brother Zhao, I admire the Xiao family and want to join. I was just about to ask, where did a little guy at the early stage of soul formation come from? Xiao Guiyuan looked at Yang Cheng up and down and sneered. You're only at the early stage of soul formation. Aren't you afraid that we won't want you and return to Hongmeng to be killed by the Hongmeng people as a traitor? Yang Cheng shook his head and said firmly, I'm still very young. Although I've just reached the soul formation stage, I believe it won't be long before I reach the tribulation stage. At that time, I'll be able to help the Xiao family. Haha, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. It won't be too late to say these words when you can survive until the tribulation stage. Xiao Guiyuan didn't directly reject Yang Cheng's offer. The hidden clans did indeed need fresh blood to join them. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. If the hidden clans did not accept others joining them, the other two clans would take them in. Therefore, the ancient clans had always welcomed cultivators above the soul formation stage. Anyway, their relationship with Hongmeng had never been good, so they could openly poach them. With the identity of a referrer as a bargaining chip for the family, Xiao Guiyuan was clearly more interested in the Zhao siblings. He felt bad for making them make a trip for nothing. The patriarch is currently in seclusion, and I don't know when he'll come out. I'll take you to see the Lord and let him decide. After he finished speaking, Xiao Guiyuan took the lead to walk towards the main hall. Saying that Xiao Mingyu was in seclusion was actually just an excuse. Even if Xiao Mingyu was here, he wouldn't be bothered to meet the two juniors of an unremarkable vassal clan. The Lord he mentioned was Xiao Mingyu's eldest son, Sorrowless. He was also the elder brother of Siyao Qiqing's biological father, Sorrowless. The three of them followed Xiao Guiyuan into the main hall. Stepping on the thick pine wood floor, the air was filled with the fragrance of red sandalwood. The main hall was surrounded by carvings of dragons and phoenixes, engraved with many inscriptions, and hung with many ancient paintings, making it look grand and elegant. A middle-aged man with long black hair combed behind his head, dressed in an ancient brocade robe, sat elegantly on the chair of the main hall's master. At this moment, he was holding a book and reading it with relish. Yang Cheng took a look and saw that Sorrowless was only at the middle stage of the Ming Water Realm. Although he was considered an expert in the illusion realm, he was not a threat to Yang Cheng. The arrogance on Xiao Guiyuan's face had already disappeared, revealing a fawning smile. He stepped forward and bowed. Lord, the Zhao families Zhao Muyang and Zhao Ting have brought a kid who wants to join our Xiao family to see you. They want to ask for a spirit pill to help Zhao Liangyu pass the Kuei water stage. Sorrowless raised his head, revealing a handsome man's face with a mature temperament, but it was more or less a bit casual and lazy. Oh, it's this kid at the early stage of soul formation? Sorrowless laughed strangely. If you want to use a pill in the tribulation stage, it has to be at least a mid-grade or above spirit pill. If you want to have a big effect, it has to be a high-grade spirit pill. Don't you think it's very stupid to find a kid at the early stage of soul formation to join and try to cheat a high-grade spirit pill? Zhao Muyang and Zhao Ting's faces turned ugly, and the two immediately knelt on the ground. Lord, please consider the fact that our Zhao family and Xiao family have been bound together for more than 1,000 years. Please be especially merciful. Right now, grandfather only needs one last helping hand. If he can enter the dark water stage, he will definitely do his best for Xiao family and will definitely not forget Xiao family's great kindness. Zhao Muyang begged bitterly. However, Sorrowless yawned and picked his ears. Dark water stage. Let's not talk about whether he can really enter or not. Even if Zhao Liangyu really does enter, his old bones may not have many years left. If you give him a high-grade spirit pill, he can at most reach the dark water stage. But if you give it to those experts who have already reached the peak of Samadhi True Fire or the dark water stage, they could get closer to the karmic fire stage, weak water stage, and even break through to the weak water stage. Father is in seclusion, and recently I have been in charge of Xiao family's internal affairs. I can't waste a precious high-grade spirit pill. The Zhao siblings felt a chill in their hearts. What Sorrowless said was indeed right. Although they were anxious to extend grandfather's life, from the perspective of the entire Xiao family and the subordinate families, the death of an old man at the sunflower stage and the birth of a person at the peak of karmic fire stage or the dark water stage was more valuable. But such straightforward words made the Zhao siblings disheartened. Originally, they thought that if they recommended a cultivator to rely on, even if there was no high-grade spirit pill, they would still be given a few mid-grade spirit pills. But they didn't expect that Sorrowless would be so heartless and only look at the family's interests. Lord, please be merciful. Only grandfather can protect us in our Zhao family. If grandfather leaves, the other families that have grudges with us will definitely ruthlessly suppress and plunder us. At that time, our Zhao family's disciples will be killed. Our Zhao family has many talented disciples. There are already more than 10 young disciples who have entered the Xiantian realm. In less than 10 to 20 years, there will definitely be another batch of cultivators who are above the spirit-severing realm. At that time, wouldn't it be more beneficial to Xiao family? Zhao Ting tried hard to persuade, holding back her tears. Sorrowless put down the book and walked in front of Zhao Ting. He bent down and stretched out his hand to pinch Zhao Ting's chin, lifting the woman's face up. TSK, TSK, what a pitiful little girl. Unknowingly, so many years have passed. More than 20 years ago, you were still a little girl. Now you've grown so beautiful. Zhao Ting's eyes showed some panic, and her face was a little red, but she didn't dare to disobey. Zhao Muyang, who was at the side, was so nervous that his whole body was trembling. Sorrowless didn't do much. He pointed at Zhao Ting's face and said, "It's a pity that no matter how many reasons you have, none of them are accurate. It's impossible for you to want high-grade spirit pills. As for low-grade spirit pills, for old time's sake, I can give you a few." Low-grade? The Zhao siblings looked troubled. Low-grade spirit pills had almost no effect on tribulation passing stage cultivators. At this time, Yang Cheng, who was behind them, said, "Sir, I'm Xiao Chun. I have something to report." Sorrowless glanced at him and waved his hand. "I know. Don't worry. Join my Xiao family. Although your cultivation is still low, seeing that you share the same surname as my Xiao family, we won't mistreat you. We will arrange a place for you to stay and give you a few low-grade spirit pills. Cultivate well in the future. If Hongming comes looking for you, my Xiao family will protect you." Yang Cheng smiled. "I naturally believe that the Xiao family won't mistreat me. However, although I'm only at the early stage of soul formation, I believe that I have some unique skills. It's not as simple as the early stage of soul formation. Brother Zhao recommended me here, so you should get some benefits." Xiao Mahui and Xiao Guyuan looked at him in surprise while the Zhao siblings were confused. They didn't know what Yang Chan was trying to do. "What do you mean?" Sorrowless was a little interested. "I've been gifted since I was a child. My body is extremely outstanding, and I practiced many body refining skills. Although I'm only at the early stage of soul formation, my battle strength is enough to match a middle stage or even a late stage soul formation cultivator. Moreover, I'm not even 30 years old. In the future, as long as the Xiao family is willing to support me, I will definitely be of great help to the Xiao family." Yang Cheng showed a confident look. Sorrowless and Xiao Guyuan obviously didn't believe him. Just as they were about to say something, a woman's charming laughter came from outside the hall.